All right, we're live. Hello. I should probably post this in Facebook and on Twitter. And the funny thing is, Kenneth is back. That's not the funny thing. That's not at all the funny thing. That's not the funny thing. I was telling a story. Wow. Okay. Well, I want to make sure that we are telling all of the socials that we're out there, we're influencing right now. That's what we do here in social media. We influence.
We got a thought lead. Yep, there he is. Copy link.
And then, no, not what I want. Oh. Also, well, okay, that's probably fine. That'll be fine.
But no mark yet.
No mark.
How is he going to leave a mark on this live stream if he doesn't
show up?
Yeah.
Details. Well, hello and welcome to. I see. This is what I hate. What I was doing earlier was awesome. It would show me how many people were there. I could chat with them directly. And here in the Hangouts booth, I've never figured out. Well, there's a chat. There's a group chat, but that's a group chat for us. That's not a group chat for you.
That is separate from the stream because I say hello world here. It does not show up in the YouTube one. Hello world here. Yes. Yeah. So
I don't know.
Right. So this is where you open up the actual live stream video and then you like pop out the chat and then close it again.
And I got to make sure it's muted or it'll mess.
Yes.
There we go. What story?
Can you hear me? Check 1, 2.
Oh, it's Mark.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that? It is the one and only.
I heard him.
Who?
You.
That guy owes me money.
Yeah. Black Hat, huh? What are you, some sort of hacker?
Something. I don't know. Hang on. Hangouts can't use the selected camera. Without a working camera, the other participants won't be able to see you. Well, gee, that's a bummer.
True fact. Without a camera, I can't see you.
That is true. Camera problem. Hangouts can't use the selected camera without. Okay, you've already mentioned that.
Well, yes, but see.
So we've heard.
Hangouts can't use the selected camera. There's a camera problem.
That's what they tell me. Where the hell do I turn that on? Over on the right, there's a little camera there. Hey, look at that. Continue allowing Hangouts to access your camera and microphone. Camera integrated webcam. That is correct. Are we family friendly?
I mean, I think you could go PG-13.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, according to the FCC, in 15 minutes, we'll be past the whatever
watershed.
I
Okay.
have to admit, I didn't even really know that. So.
Yeah, I thought it was more a BBC thing than a FCC thing.
No, the BBC, like, there are laws that you can curse on TV after 10 p.m. That was
really?
And NYPD Blue would not have happened but for those laws.
Oh, okay.
Whatever they are.
The Mighty Nine?
Yeah, the Mighty Nine.
I'm not familiar with that.
That is it's a D&D, the critical role, the Critical Role podcast.
Ah, got it. Okay, no, that is not
the D20.
I do see the D20, but I'm not familiar with that particular podcast.
Really?
Yep.
You need another podcast.
I have already started listening to all the Shadowrun podcasts. That's going to take a while to get caught up on.
Why is your camera not working?
Well,
see, there's a camera problem, and the other participants of this hangout will not be able to see him if his camera does not work.
You know what? That problem.
Okay, actually, I'm going to go reboot because a lot of USB things kind of got wonky with the power outage that we had a little bit ago. So let me reboot all the things, power cycle everything, turn it off and on again, and I'll be back in a minute.
Bye.
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 Hi, Kurt. Kurt retracted a message. Do I have like the ability to see it anyway? I can put the user in timeout. I can hide them. I can report them, or I can add them as a moderator. Man, that microphone's all up in my face. Just
Up in your business.
This setup is weird.
Now you're a unicorn.
No, I'm a narwhal. Okay, I don't know. Maybe that's better. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me acceptably?
Absolutely.
Okay.
See, and I'm talking to you through the microphone on my webcam up there, so I'm going for super easy.
So this is a new setup that we have, George and I have invested in because we want to do some more video and live stuff next year. So we both bought video capture hardware. So this is an El Gato, which is Spanish for the cat. An HD 60S, which will do 1080p, 60 frames per second. It's a USB 3 device. So it's speedy, gets warm.
Nice.
And rather than using a webcam, I'm coming to you through an actual, I was going to say a DSLR, but this is a mirrorless, but it's a DSLM. So yeah, it's an honest to God camera. It's not a webcam.
There you go. Sweet.
Let's see. Ooh, more Kurt. Okay. For watching or ham problem. Hi. Is this the discussion on the alien invasion of New York City, the blue light from a ham radio perspective or something else? So VA7BC. So I don't know if you know this. Have you by chance, are you aware of what happened to me New Year's 2007 in Times Square? Is that what you're referencing? Life is fine today, RTL SDR scanner. Okay. I might have to play something for the group. So here's the story.
I love it.
Thank you, Mr. North. Are you reading the comments?
Yeah, we got our first live stream spam, I guess. Maybe.
Huge fan. Good looking honky. All right, so here is the story. In 2007, let's see, the blue light has. Oh, I'm clearly not plugged into the news. I had no idea what was happening in New York last night. So back in it was New Year's 2007. So this was technically December 31st, 2006. My best friend's aunt works for a PR company in New York that represents the Waterford crystal ball that gets dropped. And for that particular year, she's like, hey, she invited my friend, said, hey, why don't you and a friend or two come on up and visit us for New Year's and we'll get you all access, like backstage VIP passes to the entire downtown event. And this is my first trip to New York. So if you're going to go big. A lot of great things happened on that trip. But so we were in a VIP area that was kind of right behind the Fox News booth. And the area that we chose was, again, there weren't as many like celebs or anything there. We chose it because it had readily access to a bathroom all night long. And that was kind of critical.
Priorities.
Yes, no, it was. So anyway, we're standing there and we look over and there's this guy who looks like kind of like Larry King, but older in this total like full fur coat. And after a while, somebody tells us that it was not Larry King. It was the Amazing Kreskin. Do you know who the Amazing Kreskin is?
Nope.
So in the 70s, the Amazing Kreskin was this like this mentalist, like hypnotist. He was think spoon bending and that kind of like fake nonsense. But he was interacting with a lot of people in the crowd, and he had a camera crew following him. And I told my friend, because so many amazing things had already happened on this trip, and we were only there for like 3 days. And I just told her, I was like, whatever happens, we're going to wind up on TV. And so he was going around and he started with this big group of people and did these tests to like down select the audience of who was really being hypnotized. And so my friend and I kept playing along all the way till the end, and we were down selected to the final 3. And at approximately like 12:25 or January 1st, 2007, like right after the ball had dropped, he's on Fox News, like on the street coverage, and he is like, they're having us act like we were hypnotized by him to see UFOs over Times Square. And so that's the thing that happened. I pretended on national television that I was hypnotized seeing UFOs over Times Square. The funniest part about this was about 10 minutes after it had aired, I got a text from my boss who was vacationing in Hawaii and who said, "Did I just see you on Fox News?" So, yeah.
Let's see. Wikipedia says that 2002 he made a prediction there would be a mass UFO sighting over in Las Vegas. He's really into it.
Yeah, that's kind of his deal.
Yeah.
Like, I'll have to see if I can find. I don't have a copy of the original video because that was back before video on the internet was really a thing.
Yeah. Huh. All right. Well, I'm glad that you managed to make a fool of yourself on real television.
So wait, Kreskin is Canadian?
Is an American mentalist.
Oh. Well, who's Canadian?
Don't know. That is BA at Seton Hall University in New Jersey.
Seton,
yeah.
By the way, I don't believe in this Linux stuff.
Yeah?
Clearly it's not working. Can't even live stream on YouTube.
Really? Because I'm sitting here with Linux and we're live streaming. So
I don't believe you.
Okay.
Mark must be running Linux then.
Oh, yes. Well, see, I think his problem is that he's running relatively new hardware.
Hilarious.
My desktop that I use now was originally built up as my file server in 2010.
Yeah.
So, like, since 2010, this thing has gotten like a RAM upgrade, and that's it. So
I think I'm going to be able to share. I think I'm going to be able to do this. Let's try a couple things. So, hold on. All right, that's me. I need my settings. All right, everybody, you're going to lose my audio for a minute because I'm going to give you the business. So, you're going to get the
you're gonna have to be entertained by me. Dun 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 dun. Oh, you have a real camera. That's why there's like focus reticles popping up.
Oh, are there really?
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Nice. Yeah, technically that won't happen if I were to actually put it on whatchamacallit, but just haven't done that yet.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as it technically wouldn't happen, then that's the best kind of it wouldn't happen.
Sorry, it wouldn't happen if it were on manual focus.
Yes. Then we could have a blurry you with no focus reticles.
Yeah, but I can focus it properly.
Well, yeah, but where's the fun in that?
Man, this stinks. I cannot. My virtual audio interface is not showing up in the browser for some reason. So, I guess yes, it is. Okay, you're gonna lose my audio now, but we'll be back. Kenneth, keep singing.
And Mark has maybe dropped in. We've got video of him.
Hold on.
All right. Hold on. All right, we're kicking. Oh, wait.
The amazing Kreskin has been downstairs,
He's
down
looking
below
for
us.
these UFOs.
He claims that there's UFOs out here. Lisa Bernhardt is down there. Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Julie. Hey, Bill. Okay, Kreskin, tell us.
Lisa, don't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if there were some other UFO sightings in another part of the world in the next few minutes. But you should. These people are strangers. I only saw them for a few minutes.
Okay, I'm going to ask, what is your name and what do you think of UFOs?
My name is Jean, and I don't believe in UFOs.
Do you believe in UFOs?
No.
And so,
I think the odds are against us being alone in the universe.
okay, Kreskin, go to it.
You're going to be surprised. I want me to spell my name. This is not a trick. My name is simply Kreskin. K-R-E-S-K-I-N. Look.
Oh shit!
What do you think?
Purple, green,
How many?
3.
Where are they moving?
They're kind of flat, just a little bit. Right over there about the blue sign.
Now, ask her. What do you say? Tell me what you say.
But I saw a yellow one.
You saw a
I
yellow?
saw a yellow one. It's like golden with a lot of lights.
Gold with a lot of lights.
Yeah, and it flew up.
Were there aliens inside?
I have no clue. Sorry.
You actually saw a yellow, what looked like a UFO.
Kind of. Yeah.
Okay, can you describe what you saw?
What in the bloody hell is this?
Light just floating in the sky, right above where the ball dropped, right over there. Okay, sir, and you're not making this up.
No, there are. You don't
Jeremy, you lied on television.
Round
He
on the-
asked you for making it up.
Well, I see some confetti. I know I see confetti.
Oh, they're coming between the buildings there. You don't see that?
Are they coming to get us? Are they aliens?
I don't know. You might want to ask them that. Where are the police?
3, 1, 2, 3. It's going to get stronger. Look, and what's happening.
Some more.
How many?
Some more.
She says-
like 3, just 2.
Is that part of Homeland Security or something?
Okay, you guys are not actors. You see UFOs.
Is that Jeremy?
Yeah.
It doesn't scare you.
Eh,
What's the matter?
Okay, well, they claim that they see UFOs. We apologize for a little slip of the tongue here.
Oh no. Huh?
What the hell was that, Jeremy?
Okay, can you guys hear me again?
Yes, we
Yes.
Okay. So there we go. What I was explaining is that I was in Times Square for New Year's 2007, and had all access backstage VIP passes for the production. And we saw Kreskin, and I told him that the girl in the middle who didn't hardly say a word is my friend Jordan. And we said that no matter what, we're going to wind up on TV. And so we did. So we pretended to be hypnotized by Kreskin to get up on national TV for New Year's, as you do.
Uh-huh.
So yeah,
Okay.
that was me.
So what was that about the aliens?
So
Were you just trolling them?
Kreskin hypnotized. Well, yes, but Kreskin hypnotized us to see aliens.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
You'll do anything for your 15 minutes of fame, won't you?
Well, I figure we used about 7 there, so I'm spending the other 8 on a ham radio podcast. As my brother-in-law says, I am nerd famous.
That's right.
Oh boy. Also, here's something exciting. I just got an email from Hurricane Electric. Hi, Kenneth. You have been allocated cabinet Fremont 1, aisle 2, number 43 in Fremont 1, 760 Mission Court with 15 amps of power. Let us know if you...
Is this Fremont Cabal number 2?
This is Fremont Cabal location number 2, yeah. So I now have 2 racks and 2 data centers.
Is TweetDeck gone? No, there it is.
TweetDeck or its competitor Twit.
Anybody who's listening, if you are at all interested in Dell hardware, I really like the XPS 15, and a coworker of mine who has one says that it works great in Windows. But for the love of God, don't try to run Windows on it. Or if you do, don't get the TB16 Thunderbolt dock, because the
PCIe and USB errors over that Thunderbolt cable are insane.
See, your deep fundamental mistake there was Thunderbolt.
I guess the other thing that I would ask.
I just lost a whole bunch of shit, didn't I?
Well, the other thing I would ask is, are you sure it's a good Thunderbolt cable? Like certified? Okay, Kenneth's assertion that there's no such thing, but I guess I should at least ask: is it a certified Thunderbolt cable?
I too find Mark certifiable.
Did we lose him?
We might have.
Yeah. Oh, there he is. Sort of.
No, yeah. But cool. So we've got a cabinet.
That's what started as a hobby.
Check.
Of collecting e-waste.
Oh, it's still very much collecting e-waste. This week's acquisition was one of my friends decommissioned a 24-bay storage server. And so it's a 4U server with 24 3.5-inch disk drives in it. And they were just chucking it, so I showed up with a pickup.
What kind of interface?
It's a standard Supermicro, so it's all SAS based. It all had 4 terabyte NAS SATA drives in it.
You got it with the drives too.
Yeah, it came with the drives. He's like, I trust you to zero these out before you do anything with them. And I'm like, no problem.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. For 96 raw terabytes of storage, no problem.
All right, is my volume okay? My mic volume?
Yeah,
yes.
pretty good.
All right, so just catching up on some comments here.
1, 2.
Yep, you're there. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you guys.
Can you hear me now?
No.
How about now?
No.
Yeah, OBS really is the better way to do it, except that Hangouts is really easy. So.
Yeah. So OBS, I have it installed. I just haven't taken the time yet to start playing with it, but that would be the future state plan to use OBS.
OBS is what I used to use when I was doing streaming more often.
Well, the funny thing is, by all accounts, this capture card should not have worked. I bought this because I could get it locally, and they were sold out everywhere. Because technically, the Elgato Cam Link would be more appropriate for what I'm doing, because I'm not doing like game streaming or anything where I need the HDMI pass-through. And the Cam Link is actually it is seen as a webcam device versus this is some archaic Windows-y capture device. But like I said, everything I read said it wouldn't work in Hangouts, but both YouTube and Google will just see it as a camera, and it works fine. And so here we are.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. So I'm still trying to figure out how to get that webcam working. Right now, the only one that's working is built into my laptop.
Chin cam.
Chin cam.
Yeah.
All the chins, all the time.
If you have an XPS laptop, then it actually is a chin cam.
Chin cam. Yeah, it's at the bottom.
It's at the bottom.
I actually can get. Here we go. We can get a microphone in front of my face as well. So
you don't feel left out.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. We're good, guys.
Wait, what is that?
It's a microphone.
It's
one of the little blue USB dongle microphones.
Huh?
What do you use that for?
I don't know. I guess I think one of my friends gave it to me, someone gave it to me at some point, so it was in my e-waste bin. And before I had this webcam, I didn't have any microphones on this computer, so like I would get Hangouts calls on my computer. I'm like, I can answer this, but no one can hear me, so I need to be plugged into my computer.
All right, I'm gonna. Sorry, shoot.
If you do, you have to clean it up.
If you reboot again, it's not going to fix anything.
No, it's not. Actually, it might with this system. The camera, the integrated. So when I go into Hangouts in Chrome, there's a little camera icon in the upper right. I go down to the camera section, and all it has is my webcam, my integrated cam. But when I go to the Manage section and I go to the camera section, it lists both the C920 and the integrated.
So, question in chat was who's who. So, assuming that. Okay, so I'm Jeremy KF7IJZ, host of the Ham Radio, or co-host of the Ham Radio Workbench podcast. I'm wearing the Mighty Nine T-shirt from the Critical Role podcast.
I'm Kenneth Finnegan at KWF, call sign W6KWF. Sometimes guest of Ham Radio Workbench. Although it's been a long time at this point.
It has been.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, what's that?
You've been blackballed, Kenneth.
I was gonna say, geez, like, was my interview, was my post-op on Hamvention really that bad?
No, actually, your post-op on, your debrief on Hamvention was excellent. Actually, no, it was there was a point there where I kind of felt bad about keep calling on you guys. Yeah. And the thing is so like we tried to be cognizant. We weren't always successful. We picked on Nick a whole lot more towards the end of the year. Nick Karchukis KN6NK, who could not be here tonight because he had plans, which was weird.
What the hell is this with you in a social life anyway?
Yeah, I mean, he's the one that called it out, right? But yeah, so anyway, that's Kenneth. So it was nothing personal. It was literally just trying to be respectful of people's times. And so, Mark, you want to introduce yourself?
Wait, and I'm wearing the Release the Shmoo shirt from AVE. To
Release the Shmoo!
Yeah, it's a pretty solid one.
Okay. Now, sorry, I was trying to bring up the YouTube stream so I can take a look at the chat. But of course, that meant that I had two audio streams going at the same time. Who is everybody? Hi, I'm Mark, Smitty Halibut, KR6ZY, Kilo Romeo 6 Zulu Yankee. At Smitty Halibut on Twitter. I am also a sometimes guest to the Ham Radio Workbench podcast.
So you're a member of the family.
I'm the weird old uncle that nobody wants to show up to.
We bought you dinner and you put out later.
Phrasing.
PG-13. Come on, Jeremy. Work with me on this one. I am also a Linux bigot and currently trying to get that webcam working instead of that one so that you guys can actually look at my face instead of my chin.
See, I'm running Linux and everything works fine for me, so.
Does it now?
Yep.
Man, Kurt, you keep redacting or retracting messages.
Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by community guidelines.
Which community?
It's ZY, Zulu Yankee, Kurt, by the way. Yeah, I know. Like I said, I'm trying to get the camera fixed.
Huh.
Help control the camera population. Wow. Yeah, there's the reticle again.
Right?
Yeah. But I'm more in focus than I ever was.
This is true. The key is we got to focus on it.
All right. Why are you not doing that? You, like, I don't know why.
So the other thing, I got 9 watching now. All right, so that and
there's the Mighty 9.
Well, two of those.
Up, guys, we're done.
2 of those are me and you. So that means there are 7 other people who also had nothing better to do on a Friday night. So normally this would be the night that we would record our podcast, which drops every other Tuesday. But our guest for this evening ended up coming down with the flu, and so bailed on us. And then it just so happened.
Wait, would you say that he flew the coop?
We're so fired, Kenneth.
Yep, I'm okay with that.
And let's see. Have I looked at Live View? No, I've not looked at Live View. Hey, Ed. Ed, if you have a camera, do you want to join? You would fit in with this motley crew. So, Ed,
don't insult him like that. Jeez, Jeremy. What did he ever do to you?
Oh, lots.
Fit in like with us. God.
No, you guys would love Ed. Ed and I used to chum around and play a whole lot of amateur radio back when I lived in DC.
Okay.
He lived close down the road. He's the one, if you ever remember me talking about selling my my Kenwood 480 SAT. He's the lucky recipient of that radio.
Oh, cool.
He's getting over the flu.
He's getting over the flu. So okay, flu is real.
Fact.
Flu is real.
The flu is real.
So RTL SDR scanner posted, can I join? Sure, why not?
No, hold up. We don't allow any pieces of hardware in this live stream. Humans only. Sorry.
I would just need your email address.
When I accidentally started my YouTube channel, it was by doing something like this with a Hangout, where I thought just posting a public link would allow anyone to come join me. Nobody did, but this was kind of the goal of just having a random, like, permanent hangout for people to come and go as they pleased while I was working on stuff.
Yeah, man. I haven't worked on any like PCB layout stuff or anything now in like 6 months.
It's been a while for me. Although, no, actually, it's not true. I did lay out a very simple audio routing board recently to help get into satellites, to be able to integrate or to link up my gaming headset, my PC gaming headset, to my radio and route all of the audio and mix it in the correct way to send off to my phone to actually record the satellite pass. So that was a neat little project that I'm waiting for Osh Park to fabricate and send to me now.
You know, I still have a pile of codes somewhere.
For
Osh Park? Yeah.
I literally, mine. Oh, actually, it's right here. It's literally a pile of codes. Yeah.
No. Can you put those closer to the camera? Because I'm sure. Don't.
Why not? Give one away.
Sure.
Yeah, right.
There are better ways of doing, or there are worse ways of doing that.
All right. This is just going to go in the chat. Someone's going to get it.
First person to submit a packet or a project with this code.
Yeah. But at least it'd be nice and typing it instead of reading it off.
I thought you were just going to hold it in front of the camera.
Yeah, sure. Why not? All right. There we go, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it's not focused.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't focus on that one. All right. But yeah, there you go. Hope someone uses that.
Do you want to say hi?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Is that our newest ham?
Hello, guys.
Hello, Brittany.
Hello. I can't hear you at all, so.
Oh, no.
Hey, guys.
I don't know what Jeremy's doing.
Hey, Ivan.
Hi, Ivan.
Hey. So, do you hear music from the ground, or my headset is good enough?
Oh, it sounds like your internet connection might be going out. Either that or it's mine. I'm not sure which.
No, I heard that too.
I don't know.
The techno was real. Oh, there's video. Oh, there she is.
Hold on. We can do something.
Where's the autofocus? Where's the autofocus?
What is your shirt?
What is it?
Why are you just showing my shirt?
Invulnerable vagrant.
I can't hear them, so this is really kind of pointless. Hold on a second.
And so
we're trying to figure out what that is on your shirt. Hey, Brittany.
It's the invulnerable vagrant. Or there we go. Wrong way.
Invulnerable vagrant. What is that? I'm not familiar with that.
Do you guys listen to the Critical Role podcast?
Oh my God! Critical Role.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I do not. I've been listening to a lot of Shadowrun podcasts, but not D&D or gaming in general.
Jeremy clued me into it, and now I have listened to everything about 3 times.
And that's over 600 hours of content.
Well, the nice thing is I have a job where, yes, sometimes I must pay attention to what I'm doing, but a lot of times there's just data entry kind of stuff. So I can just play the podcast in the background. It's really nice.
I'm jealous. Well, congratulations on your call sign.
Thank you.
Right?
I've done absolutely nothing with it except use it as an excuse to be on the podcast. So
hey, it makes you feel any better. I think since the convention, I've done absolutely nothing with my call sign either. So
I guess I'm the only one without call sign here today.
Well, there you go. Well, you got to work on getting one.
Well,
If I can do
it's
it,
just
anybody
time.
can, really.
I just don't have that much time. I'm actually a truck driver, and from time to time in different locations of United States and Canada, I just get my RTL SDRs and my high RF and just start scanning around, looking for trunking radios and stuff. That's pretty much my hobby.
Yeah. Well, if you're trucking around, I mean, that's one of the better times to have communications. Get an HF rig in there or a DMR rig or something, and just
Yeah, pretty much I do everything on my laptop, straight out on my laptop. Sometimes I do live streaming on this channel and stuff, but yeah.
Very
well,
cool.
Guys, it's past my bedtime, so
Peace
I'm
out,
going. But it was good to see you guys.
It was good seeing you
briefly.
again too, Brittany.
Yeah.
Right.
See you at Bay Area Maker Fair next year.
What?
See you at Bay Area Maker Fair next year.
Tell you what, if we can figure out a way for me to fly out there and to still also have support for Jeremy, that would be fine.
That's the hard part. They both happen at the same time.
You assume that they care about that second part.
Oh, well, it's more the first part, really.
Right.
So, all right. Headphones
All
back
right.
to Jeremy. Talk to you guys later.
Good night, Brittany.
Bye.
It's good seeing you.
Oh God. But really, Jeremy, you should come to Bay Area Maker Fair next year too.
Oh, I'm sure George will love that.
Yeah.
Viewfinder inactive. Press any button to reactivate. What the heck is that?
His viewfinder is inactive.
Yeah, my viewfinder is
inactive.
inactive.
Press any button to reactivate it.
Oh, you're using like a real camera.
Yeah, it's a real camera. You missed all that.
Yeah.
No. I wouldn't say I was missing it, Bob.
We had this whole briefing and review, technology discussion. Bonjour.
And also bonjour to VA2 LOJ. But well, okay. Sorry, that all happened rather suddenly. Hello, Ivan.
Hey, yeah, I'm here. Somewhere here.
Congratulations. So, out of what could have possibly made this the best option for you to be doing on Friday night?
Well, it depends how you look at it. So, I was driving the whole night today. Then my wife started driving. She made a load delivery, picked up another load, and I just slept literally just 4 hours. And I woke up because I became hungry like crazy. And right now we're in a restaurant.
You're calling us from a restaurant?
With your wife?
There she is.
Oh, man.
She is infinitely patient with you, isn't she?
Yes.
So where are you located?
Right now we are on somewhere on I-5 on TA truck stop. That's what I remember.
In California?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you cut out. Yes, in California?
Yes, in California. We're about what's the city here again? I don't remember. She was driving here, so I have no idea where we are exactly.
Okay, well, I-5 is a big road. It goes from Mexico up to Canada, so...
Well, clearly he's in Canada.
Clearly.
In Santanella.
Santanella.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to do like a live stream hot drop here. Whoever can find him first and get there.
It'll be like swatting, only it's worse because hams are going to show up.
Everyone descend on all the cafes.
What? It's not a cafe. He said he's at a Travel America truck stop.
There you go. Find the truck stops, and you get to be on the live stream.
Oh, I just drove through there. Oh, no, that's just north of where I came out. Okay.
Yep.
So you're by 152?
We just got something like that, yeah. Yeah.
46, 33, 119, hike. 152.
Yeah, it's about due east of Morgan Hill.
Yep. So yeah, pretty much that's what we do. We have plenty of time today, so that's why I decided to join the stream. Just have a good time. That's pretty much what the whole gig is about. Have a good time all the time.
Drive until you're not allowed to drive anymore, and then stop and do stuff.
Yes, or have your spouse continue driving.
Yeah.
There's a loves. Yeah. Cool.
You guys are actually going to go hunt him down, aren't you?
Well, I've already hunted him down on Google Maps.
You have nothing to worry about. I'm not going to find you. I'm 3,000 miles away.
Let's
yeah,
see,
he's a 3-hour drive from me. Probably only about 1 to 1.5 from Kenneth.
1 hour and 24 minutes.
Well,
we can
go.
make it. Well, there's an accident on 152, so.
Oh, from where you're at, you might be able to take 130. Although I don't know what the.
This is true. Yep. Let's see if I took 130.
Oh, that'd be even worse though, because you have to go over Mount Hamilton.
All of 130. 2 hours and 46 minutes.
Oh, that looks like a gorgeous drive, though.
The scenic route.
Yes. But you'll pass Mount Hamilton on the way, so, stop by and do some HF work while you're up there or something.
Well, today I'm probably not going to do anything because I'm still sleepy. I just want to eat and go back to sleep.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So I see you have a channel called RTL-SDR Scanner. So what do you like to play around with?
Well, I like to be like this monitoring guy, TV only type of stuff. So I have a couple antennas on my truck. I have a couple SDR dongles. I have a HRF with me, and a couple laptops. So what I do, I just go literally, go 853 area, and just look for trunking. Just whichever has best signal in the area, connect to that with unit trunker and start decoding that stuff. Then in some cases use DSD plus, stuff like that. So yeah.
So what antennas are you running on your car?
Oh, that one. So one antenna I have that is tuned for VHF and UHF. I can't remember the model, but the second antenna is actually CB antenna, the little wheel. So as long as I'm fine with those.
So in case you have not ever seen one of these, oh boy, that's not going to work, is it?
It's going to work. Make it work.
I see it.
Yeah.
I get one of those. Those are awesome. I want to actually put on my mirror of my truck. So yeah, I just don't have time to make one, or I could just technically order one online and then get it whenever I get it. But yeah,
what's the wind load on a disc cone?
This is a baby disc cone.
The answer is lots.
Lots.
Yeah, but this still, it's not as much as a
like an 8-foot whip.
Yeah, I mean this entire thing is I don't know, just a hair over 2 feet tall. I mean it's small. Its frequency range is like from it's like 100 or 125 megahertz up to 1.3 gigahertz or something. But I actually, when I was at Shelby a couple years ago, there was a guy that had one of these on his car, and I was like, I have to have that antenna. But Ivan, it's funny because
Did you
similar
steal
to you,
his antenna?
No. I tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Hey, what is that? I've never seen it before." But the thing is, I could have ordered it at any time too, but I just kept forgetting about it. And so it wasn't until I actually came across one in person that I finally picked it up. So I don't know what it was. Again, I could have ordered it any time, but no, I wanted to get it in person.
Last year I was doing driving, and on the airport property, I noticed this guy show up sometimes. His car is like labeled with few frequencies on his vehicle, and then he has a whole bunch of antennas, including the this disc cone and everything. So I was got hooked on that. I had the portable radio from Ballfang, like a 2-channel radio. So I tuned into those 2 frequencies he had on it, and I did listen to him. It was kind of fun to listen to him. Imagine me driving with Messenger and they hear like this just random guys like going full nuts ham radio on it.
So, I'm sorry, just real quickly. Not related to anything, but there's a thing behind you that says "Find her an empty lap, fellas."
Yeah. TA, they do this kind of stuff.
Hello, Dolly. Okay.
Yeah. And then there's one behind my wife right there. There's like literally on every single thing it says something somewhere.
Huh.
Yeah, it's what's this? Iron Skillet or was this? Oh, it's a Country Pride.
So when you talk about a truck, are you talking about over-the-road trucking or like a pickup truck?
Over the road, but I'm doing box trucks.
Gotcha.
Well,
there you go.
So yeah, beginning of this week, we're still in Connecticut. And now we're here in California. So we're all over.
How long have you been driving trucks?
Since end of 2013.
Okay. So then how did you find the stream tonight? Are you a Workbench listener, or do you just troll live streams?
Well, I'm actually subscribed to you from my another channel, my Russian YouTube channel where I post YouTube videos about truck driving in Russian language. And I got a notification about you streaming, so I just switched channels to RTL SDR and just joined you.
Cool. Awesome. Well, welcome. Yeah, so my friend George is not with us tonight, but we do a bi-weekly ham radio related podcast, and along the way we have been fortunate to pick up these guys, which I noticed we lost Smitty again. I lost. Oh, there he is. There's Smitty. Oh, and Ed is joining. Not with us tonight, but we do a bi-weekly. Hey, it's me. Related podcast, and
yeah, sorry.
We have been,
wait, no, that's not me. Wait a minute.
It's probably Ed.
Again.
Ed, do you have headphones?
There he is. There's Smitty. Oh, and Ed is joining. Not with us tonight, but we do a bi-weekly.
I'm gonna blame Ed.
Yeah, he's still got the old
sorry
stream going.
Yeah, that's me.
Wait, no, that's not me. Wait a
minute. we're pros at this, guys. This is totally normal. This is how professionals operate.
Nothing to see here. Move along.
Yeah, no, that's just how that goes.
And this is totally the camera that I'm choosing to show you guys.
Right, chin cam.
Chin cam.
Ed has self-selected to mute himself.
So, Jeremy, I'm looking at the stream, and Ivan is the only one that's on the stream. I think you may have Ivan permanently selected for the stream. I don't know if that's on purpose.
No, you're right. I was trying. I clicked on him when I was trying to read the sign behind him.
And that controls the live stream.
I fixed it.
Look at that.
Again, totally professionals at streaming. That's why I wanted to do this tonight, was to start practicing.
Yeah, well, yeah. Anytime. That's what I'm doing. Actually, last night I was doing live stream from my truck live while I was driving. I just put up I have a tablet on my dash panel. Pretty much I have two of them. Both of them are usually for navigation, backing each other up. But I just switched one of them into live stream, and I just streamed, and I have a dual mic, like lavalier clip-on mics. And I just had those mics on me, and people are listening to me just being silent or just saying BS. Yeah, they just like to watch snowy roads. That's about it.
To be fair, I watched a lot of Allie Knight's stuff as well. She's another long haul trucker YouTuber.
Actually, I just came across on a recent trip to visit my in-laws. I guess there was a famous husband and wife duo. I can't remember their name, but there were stickers of theirs all over the men's room about the linking to their YouTube channel.
That's a good way to.
At your in-laws' house?
What's that?
At your in-laws' house?
No, on the way to, there was a Love's. Stopped at a Love's.
Got it.
Yeah.
You just said when you went to go visit your in-laws, there were a bunch of stickers in the men's room. I got very confused there for a bit.
Fair enough.
I see in men's rooms. Like people advertise their Facebook channels, YouTube channels, Twitch, what you name it. I've seen it. I've seen security cameras in bathrooms.
Yeah.
And that's how actually 2016 in January. That's how I got $27,500.
Nice.
By was that like bug bounty?
So it was a regular dome analog security camera. That's all it was. They were trying to catch someone vandalizing their bathrooms, and that they think just to put security camera in there.
Not thinking about the implications of
recording that. Yeah.
So private.
we have another guest. Ed, are you situated now?
Yes, I'm as situated as I'm going to be.
Yeah, you are sick, man.
Oh, I'm getting over it.
That's good.
Yeah, I got the flu shot, the beginning of the month, and decided to field test the new strain of flu. It's kicked my butt.
So are you now a strong anti-vaxxer?
No, I just incredibly unlucky. Janelle got the flu shot a couple weeks before. She's not gotten sick so far. Fingers crossed.
Nice. Well,
but we'll see.
So, just so you can meet the gang, Ed, W4EDF. We met Ivan tonight, who just raised his hand and said beyond. So you got that. And then Kenneth and Smitty, whom you've both heard.
Hi, Ed.
Hey.
Hey.
Aren't we an exciting bunch?
Indeed.
Yep.
Indeed.
So what's funny is Smitty, Ed was going down the road of doing the XPS 13 Linux thing 2 years before you did.
Okay.
In fact, that's what I'm on right now.
So I have an XPS 15, and I love it, except for the TB16 Thunderbolt dock, which in Linux is it's constantly throwing PCIe errors and USB errors and all kinds of problems.
Interesting. I have not used the dock, so unfortunately, I can't give you any insight on that myself.
Got it.
Yeah, but I've been using the XPS 13 for about 4 years now. Use it just as my daily and as well as my my radio laptop. Throw it in the bag, and man, I love the thing.
Yeah. My previous computer was an 8-year-old desktop. It was the original i7, like the 3-digit part number i7s. It was 8 years old, and it was still working great, but I wanted a laptop, so I searched around. I like all the Dells that we use at work, so I bought the XPS 15, and I thought the Thunderbolt dock was going to be awesome, and it has not been.
That totally sucks. That really does.
Mark, you can just go back to Windows.
The only...
all right. I mean, it's just a thought, just thinking out loud here.
The only experience with docks that I had was 3.0 USB docks. That's experience with.
Yeah.
Well, much.
Although I'm also a member of the. Although I'm not
XPS
running
family.
Yeah, I'm not running Linux on it. I was going to, but I like it when my laptop works. So
then why do you have it then?
An XPS 13?
Yeah, I mean,
because it's.
You're not running Windows, are you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, that's what it came with, and
haters gonna hate.
Yeah.
No.
This
actually, so my work I have a Windows work laptop that I haven't used for 3 years. It just sits there. I use it for accessing our SAN and our Blade servers because they don't make anything that runs right in Linux. That's it. And finally decided to break out my music software, and my MacBook just decides it wants to shut off in the midst of doing whatever. And so I've actually had to, and I'm embarrassed to say this in public, I've actually had to break out Windows and load music software on it.
Yeah, I used to play with oh, I'm blanking on it. Not Rebirth. Reason. I used to play with Reason a lot, and there's just nothing that compares to Reason in Linux. Linux has some pretty good digital audio workstation software, but they've got nothing that even comes close on the synthesis side.
Yeah,
So Mark,
I'm an
say that
Ableton
Linux-
guy, so.
Mark, would you say then that Linux is pretty unreasonable?
Oh, God. Kenneth?
Yeah.
That's 2.
You're hired. You're
On
absolutely
3.
hired.
You don't want to know what happens on 3. Let's not find out, okay?
Yeah. Is that
no regrets.
Puns. Never explain, never apologize.
Oh.
Yeah, but anyway, no, I got this because I wanted a machine. Basically, I use it a couple times a year, and I got a ridiculous deal on it at Micro Center. And it's an 8th gen i5 with I think it's only got 8 gigs of RAM, and I put a bigger SS or NVMe drive in it. But it's super powerful, and I love them.
Yeah, they're an absolute. I was a Dell hater for a while, only because in the early 2000s, they couldn't get the hinges right, and after about 9 months of using it, the hinge in the laptop would get a bit floppy, and it just sucked. You moving a laptop and the screen just flopping. But this thing has been solid as can be. It's been one of the best laptops. It's super light, and the battery still after this time lasts a good long time. So
we use the Latitudes at work, and I'm super happy with them. They've been just solid machines, and Linux works great on them. And they have a real honest to goodness dock with the big multi-pin connector on the bottom of it. And I'm kind of regretting not buying a Latitude as my personal laptop, but the XPS 15 had better specs. It had a faster CPU, and it had a separate GPU, and would still let me upgrade the NVMe SSD and the RAM, which were really kind of the 2 things that I wanted. So mine has 16 gigs, but can go up to 32. And I just recently put a 2 terabyte Samsung 970 Evo, really bloody fast and really bloody large SSD in my laptop. So now I can get my music off of the NAS and actually store it on my laptop and things like that. So
the only thing I did on mine, and like I said, this was the first of the XPS 13, I think, of this, or was the second one, I can't remember, but 4 years ago. It has the Broadcom Wi-Fi chip, and I'd say Ubuntu 14 just didn't have the drivers for that, and you had to load the drivers separate. I switched it out and put the an AT&T card in.
That's what I was going to recommend. Yep.
Yeah. And I did that probably in the first 6 months, and I've never looked back. Yeah,
those are all M2 and socketed, so those are easily replaceable.
Yeah, it was a breeze. So, but yeah, it's solid, and I'm using it. I use it in the field. I put this in a laptop. I have a on my KX2, and it makes a nice. I can walk down to the park and set up real quick and run a couple hours, no problem.
So I've been at the same company for 12 years now, and I used to run IT there. And so I've got several hand-me-down laptops from work, and they're all still incredibly powerful and usable for things. And I use them when I need extra laptops, like if we're doing field day and I want multiple terminals. But I hear Jeremy and George talking about, I bought this laptop for this purpose and that laptop for that purpose. And having more than one device drives me up the wall. I don't like having a phone and a laptop, right? My perfect world would be my phone is my primary computer. I drop it in a dock and have external monitors, keyboard, and mouse. And so I only have one storage of data. And the phone is powerful enough to do most desktop kind of apps. It's just the operating system isn't there, right? So I hate having multiple different devices for all the different things. I'm trying to consolidate devices, which is why I bought a laptop as my primary computer. And I need to make sure that it's powerful enough to last me the next 4, 5, 6 years, or however long I want my laptop to last.
Yeah. I'm totally on board with that. I'm not really keen on having to even use the Windows, not just because it's Windows. but just because I don't want to have multiple systems. I mean, I use Linux for coding. I use Linux for managing systems at work. That's what I do. I don't want to have to be swapping back and forth, but at the same time, you know, I'm
what you know.
You know, I want to do my fun stuff too, and so I unfortunately, until Linux comes up with some, well, yeah, until Ableton ports over to Linux, I'm kind of stuck.
Yeah.
My friend is a network, and he got some kind of Android. I can't remember where. I think it was Asus or something like that. But anyways, he got Android phone and totally wiped it and installed it. And
installed what? I'm sorry. Was that Ubuntu?
Ubuntu, yeah.
So
weren't they like the Zen phone or something like that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe
they were going down that pathway, but they never got very far with it. I was super excited when I started reading about that.
Yeah, the whole point of he did it. He's a network engineer and he likes to probe things from terminal. That's one. And second, when he's driving, it into USB 3.0. He just gets everything on his screen in his 2-DIN stereo out and put in touchscreen instead. And it all runs on a NUC.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when I am portable and wanting to get into networks and hack things and have fun, I have one of these, a pocket chip. So the pocket chip isn't very powerful, but it's powerful enough to run Linux, ARM-based Linux, and its Wi-Fi chip can be put into sniffing mode. So it can be used to crack WEP and sniff all the Wi-Fis and do all the fun things on that. I actually ran a kind of, it's a hardware hacking village, but a sort of scavenger hunt, CTF style, go do the things challenge as part of the hardware hacking village kit that I designed that involved breaking into WEP. And I made sure that I was able to do it on this before I asked anyone else to do it on more powerful laptops.
So just to address, we have a couple new folks joining us. I've got Seth and Ronnie. Ronnie asks, any kit projects coming this year? So we don't really have an announcement to make on that front right now. We have a couple of options. We're still toying around with the power low voltage disconnect device, and that's gone through a couple of iterations. And then George has actually cooked up a couple of interesting ideas that right now I think are good seeds. But we haven't quite zeroed in on how to make it probably a good enough product that folks would be interested in. I will say this year has been quite the learning experience for us because, and actually, Smitty, you were involved in these conversations at Hamvention. So, as the year went on, and we actually started doing full kits, and we started out simple with doing the 12-volt DC power strip. The power pole strip is a full kit, which currently we're out of stock on, although downstairs I have all the parts to kit up 100 more of those. So those will be going online soon.
We're not doing that right now. We should be live streaming and kidding.
Because you want to talk about boring. Don't think I didn't think about that, though. Because there's nothing better than counting power poles and making sure that you have, 5 of these and 5 of these and 10 of these.
It's a stitch and bitch. We're all doing that while we're talking and doing other things.
And there's nothing better to be doing while kidding than trying to distract Jeremy.
Yes.
As he's sitting there counting them out. We could be just saying random numbers. 8, 7.
We saw how well that worked when he went to go design his circuit board for his mute button.
Yeah, the 4. Which, by the way, that's actually, I don't know. That's actually sitting here. That's
the mute button.
Yeah, this is
nice.
This is it.
If it'll focus.
Yeah. Where's the reticle? Nice. But anyway, this is the outcome of that, and that's just an Adafruit trinket with an arcade button and a MIDI connector and the appropriate resistors. But yeah, I made a thing, and clearly that was a while ago, given the logo that's on there. 2007 9/15. So yeah. So we did that. We have the dummy load kits, which is a really good introduction to soldering. And we really there are a lot of ancillary things. Like when we launched stuff earlier this year, we had a couple of errors in the bombs for the coax switch. And so we had to make some corrections and do some make goods with the folks who were early adopters of those. I know that we're going to have probably plenty of the coax kits left that I'm considering doing a limited run of full kits for those to bring to Hamvention. Pricing is kind of the issue because even getting the discounts that we get by buying in bulk, the margin on it to make it something that somebody would actually purchase doesn't necessarily make it worth spending the time and energy to get that up. But like I said, we're going to do a test on that probably going into Hamvention to see how folks respond to a kit that complex or with that many pieces or that expensive. To date, we've been trying to hit at the $25 range for things that are simple and useful, and also good introduction to soldering. And surprisingly, in all the kits that we've shipped, apparently I have only made one mistake, which I just found out about this week. So, and I made good on it. So,
yeah, I think having done several Hardware Hacking Village style kits where I put together, 400 bags of parts, or this past year it was 400 kits, but there were 3 different bags of parts for each kit for reasons I won't bore you with right now. So that was 1,200 bags plus another 400 of the easy kit, so about 1,600 bags worth of parts. I know exactly how miserable that can be. But I also know that, with the right audiobook or podcast or hangout going on at the same time, it can be, you can get through it.
Unless you're hanging out with you people and I have your audio.
17, 4, 8, 1, 5.
Real helpful there, Mark.
18.
6, 7, 7, 7,
9,
7, 7.
The good news is I can mute you in both directions. Like I could keep myself from hearing you, and so everybody else can enjoy your shenanigans. But no, I haven't done that many. Like this will be the biggest because the largest runs we've done to date were 50 kits, and each kit had 3 bags. So, and the other thing is too, like I try to make the experience, because like at this point I'm the one who's been solely responsible for figuring out everything around fulfillment and doing the kits. I've tried to make the experience pretty good, like pretty glossy, if you will, or at least glossy enough. And if you look at the documentation I did for the dummy load, like that was a lot more in depth. And actually, since Brittany is all brand new to this, we're going to actually have her go through following the instructions and trying to assemble a dummy load and try to capture that as a video as somebody who really doesn't have experience soldering. She actually has soldered before in our relationship, fairly early in our relationship, actually, but she has no recollection of it. She has steadier hands than I do. And way back when, does anybody remember the game Rock Band?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Rock Band, there was a drum kit, and the red drum, the wires had come loose, and so it required a very steady hand. She had never soldered before, but she soldered that and got the drums back up working. Checking the comments.
Ronnie actually was, no, I'm not muted. So Ronnie Julian was asking for a QRP SWR watt meter similar to the one that Noga had. That was at Noga's North Georgia QRP club. So I have a Noga watt, which is their watt meter. And I'm actually interested in building. The problem is scope creep has come in. What I want is a HF QRP test set, like full on. What's the term I'm looking for, Kenneth? You and Marcel,
like a service monitor.
Service monitor. That's the word I was looking for. Like a QRP HF service monitor. And I've doing certain parts of it are pretty easy to do, or at least doable. And I keep getting stuck on some of the other less easy to do parts on how I want to put that together. So I may just kind of punt on that and do the easy bits. And the easy bits will at least get you a forward and reflected power meter, dummy load, a tap so that you can run it into a O-scope or a spectrum analyzer without blowing those out. Frequency counter. I I think those were the ones that I was able to put together pretty easily. So all of those are useful for testing your transmitter. What they're not very useful for is testing your receiver, and that's the hard part, is getting some sort of a calibrated weak signal generator that can be easily controlled by a microcontroller. I can generate a signal, but I can't generate a super weak signal, or at least not a calibratedly super weak signal. And so I'm still trying to figure out exactly how to do that.
So not even using like the SI 53 or 5153.
5351, and that will generate the signal. First off, it's a square wave, so you have to filter it, and that filtering is very frequency dependent, so it's not super easy to do that. There are other alternatives for that. The other alternatives are DDS chips, which have a lot fewer of the harmonics, but they have phase noise, so they're not as good for testing your receiver.
And then you need to build this to be able to support DC to daylight for the whole HF band. So you're pretty much like the service monitor signal generator needs to be like the most involved QRP transmitter you've ever built in your life.
Exactly. So that's the part that I keep getting hung up on. And I'm not going DC to daylight. I do at least want to do 3.5 to 30, right? Yeah. I do at least want to cover 80 meter through 10 meter. 160 and below, you guys are on your own. Yeah, the signal generator is definitely the hardest part of this.
So how did I mean, just out of curiosity, because I'm under the impression that this is something that was built into the QCX.
No, the QCX is not able. The QCX is able to figure out and tune and adjust where the skirts on your filter are, but it does that with an incredibly strong signal. And the QCX is also monoband. So you build the bandpass filter specifically for that band, so the square waves coming out of the 5351 aren't a problem.
Gotcha.
The QSX is multiband, and I believe he does have some other features there, but those were never intended to be able to measure, the minimum discernible signal and like the IP3 crossover points and things like that. Those are the kinds of things that you would want a HF QRP service monitor to be able to measure, and those involve having a calibrated weak signal generator. And that's hard. That can cover the entire HF spectrum.
Fair enough.
So anyway, to answer your question, Ronnie, I'm thinking of just doing the transmit side of that and leaving like a socket on the board for someone to be able to inject a signal back into the radio, and at least have the transmitter side with the forward and reflected meters, the frequency counter display, and some switches for turning in and out the like the dummy load or the antenna, that kind of thing, and making that available. And then just have a spot where the receiver test rig would go, the signal generator for the receiver test would go. Would that be interesting to you? What about a bank of separate filters? Yeah, you're basically creating a multi-band transmitter at that point, and your test set is your service monitor is as complicated as the radio that you're trying to test. And that's doable, but it's basically you're building an entire radio, and so it's not going to be in the $25 to $50 range, which is kind of what I'm targeting. Local member of Noga, but never got any of their stuff. I would love that. Okay, yeah, no, the Noga Watt is still available. I think it was when I bought one just a few years ago. Check their website; they may still be available. So anyway, if I did that, I may be asking the ham radio workbench to sell it on my behalf at Dayton, because I'm not going to be at Dayton this year. But unless they want to talk to me about some stuff here, I'm not expecting it to be a ham radio workbench project kit. I'm expecting to pony up all the money myself and be involved in take on all the financial responsibility myself and sell it online or at Tindy or wherever. But I might give them some to go sell at Dayton on my behalf. I don't know, Jeremy. If you have different opinions, let's talk offline.
No, that was not towards you.
Oh, okay.
I have to look. They were running short of meters at some time.
I
just go ahead.
Excuse me. Yeah. So let me address that. The meters themselves are not included in the kit. You have to get your own meters. Let me give you a hint. There is a analog to digital converter on microcontrollers. So you can just sample the DC output from the detector on the watt meter, and you can turn that directly into a value inside a microcontroller and display that on a screen, or have that microcontroller put it out on a like on an analog pin and have it drive a meter, or you can feed it into an op amp. The problem is that it is a high impedance output. It's a relatively high impedance output. So you need to have very sensitive meters like microamp meters.
200 microamps full scale. Yeah.
Is that what they're saying on the thing? Okay. So if you, so you need 200 microamp meters. The other alternative is to just use a op amp follower. Because the op amps have incredibly high impedance input, and then they'll drive any meter you want on the output. So that's the other option.
Hi, Bernie. Bernie has joined in the chat. He was
hey, Bernie.
A guest just a few episodes ago talking about ham radio stuff.
Yeah. Oh, is that what you guys do?
Yeah, no, it's a thing.
It's a thing.
Oh man, the repeater episode was rough. Like, I'm sitting there for like an hour and a half with that repeater episode on, just yelling at my radio.
All right, so what were you yelling?
I don't know. Just like it was just like George has a lot of strong opinions on repeater system design, and I have a lot of strong opinions on repeater system design. And so like a lot.
We need to put you two in a room together with a microphone and say fight to the death.
Yeah, and
right. It's just like it's one of those things. Like, kind of like I was like halfway through like the first of like a huge tweet storm. Like, here's all the things wrong with it based on timestamp, and I realized like it really just kind of boiled down to like a lot of the stuff that he said, just very matter of factly. It's like, well, there's opinions on that stuff, so.
I can't go to bed. Someone on the internet is wrong.
Yeah, I let go of it at that point, but
I don't know. I kind of want to hear it.
Are you sure you've let go?
I've let go.
I don't know. This is your chance.
No, I don't remember what it was at this point. That was so long ago.
I know that's not true. I've met you. All you got to do is open the drafts folder, sir.
Oh, God.
If it makes you feel any better, Kenneth, I had similar responses to the way George was explaining some of the things to Brittany when Brittany was asking questions. Like, oh, God, I would explain that differently. Okay, I'm just going to shut up over here.
Okay, so you were doing it about George and not me then?
Yes.
Well, George was doing most of the explaining.
Yeah.
So there were actually, so fun fact as far as things that got left on the cutting room floor, several of the initial questions, George answered and answered correctly, and took about 5 to 7 to 10 minutes for the answer. And then I would come in and say, okay. And then you would actually hear the response that you heard in the episode. And George, upon reviewing the episode for content, liked my answer better and just cut his explanations for several of the questions.
Oh, man.
Yeah, nothing you said was wrong, but a lot of the explanations that were given were more detailed than I think what Brittany needed at the time. I think that was my biggest gripe.
I think you're trying to mansplain now.
What's that?
You're trying to mansplain.
I'm trying to mansplain you?
No, you're trying to mansplain to her. Who are you to say how much detail she needed?
No, changing the topic to something else.
I'm playing. I'm totally playing.
I know you are. I know.
Although she was actually interested to hear, because I read her that comment, and she was interested to hear your responses.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm happy to have a chat with her. I don't know whether it's something we want to broadcast or not, but
well, it's nothing. Well, I don't know. What? Now I'm curious.
No. I mean, that was more of a we've already been there and done that show. we don't need to revisit that show. I mean, we've already got what's the count now? 57 DMR shows. So this would be Answer Brittany's Questions number 2.
Yeah. Well, but that's the best part about a ham radio. And let's see. Michael Murphy says, Brittany did great. She should be a regular on the show. So that's actually something else we are exploring. Funny thing is that she probably would kill me for telling you this. And the thing is, she'd probably tell me that she's asleep, but for all I know, she's actually in our room right now watching this. So hi, Brittany.
Hi, Brittany.
She oh my God, she's applied for KF8 IGZ. That's amazing.
Yes.
I haven't listened to this episode yet.
But yeah, but I mean, like because she number one, she doesn't want to screw up, right? Like she's deeply invested in from the perspective of being afraid of like damaging anything we're doing. And I'm like, clearly you haven't listened to the show if you're worried about that. But number two, she is actually very vested in this, wanting to try to get answers and addressing this new the stuff from the new person's perspective. And the thing is, this all came about because as she was studying, we were driving to my parents' I think it was the weekend after Thanksgiving, and she's like, do you mind if I read questions out loud I don't know the answers to? And I said sure. And it was just an interesting reminder that I had to cram for this stuff 9 years ago. I didn't know. I remember the answer was B. I don't remember. I didn't know why it was.
Oh, you took the one-day ham cram?
No, but I did practice exams. The one-day ham cram would not have worked for me. Yeah. And the thing is, like most of the like electrical stuff was stuff I remembered from like middle and high school physics, at least. But the practical application, no, I didn't understand any of the antenna stuff. RF is still magic to me, physics. But anyway, so as she was asking these questions, I was like, this would actually, like, number one, because this is so rare, right? We all suffer from the curse of experience at this point. And so there are things that we have either self-selected just aren't important to remember anymore, or haven't had need to remember anymore. But from her perspective, where it's all new and she doesn't understand what's important, what's not, like she has such a valuable perspective right now, and just this fresh soil, if you will. As she is developing an interest in this hobby, which again, she did come by of her own volition, largely influenced by having spent time with you guys at Hamvention.
Sorry about
that. Yeah, well, it's okay.
I was apologizing to her. Never mind. Go on.
Yeah,
you were.
She's probably watching. So,
hi, Brittany.
But as we've been talking, because we got a lot of positive feedback, very similar to Mr. Murphy's comment here about her being on the show, and folks saying, hey, yeah, I did the same thing. I memorized that, but I never really understood what it meant, etc. So we are working right now to try to figure out how do we kind of change the format up. Number one, to kind of limit the 3-4 hour shows going into next year, but also
how are they going to mow their lawns without the 3 hour episode?
They can buy smaller houses. I don't know. But we're also looking at, trying to figure out how do we have her kind of cover this as content on a regular basis. And she's been very clear. This isn't something where she wants to have like Brittany's corner and then it's just her like, doing stuff. Like she wants to have the conversation, which is good. Yeah. And as she and I were talking earlier tonight, because so we originally had a guest who was supposed to be on tonight. And for those of you joining now, normally George and I would be recording right now. But our guest for tonight had to bail on us because of the flu. And so in talking with George, like we only got about a third of the way through Brittany's questions. And so we're like, well, let's continue that as a discussion topic. Plus there's some other stuff that has come up. Like Brittany's actually very interested in hearing our ham radio stories, which I don't think we've ever really told. And then we had somebody on the Facebook group say, hey, talk about how this all works behind the scenes. So it's going to be a little bit of an autobiographical with some question stuff in it. But overall, like this approach of what's the question, what is the theoretical answer, but then more importantly, what is the practical application of this knowledge as an approach is probably a good way to start tackling this. And we're going to try to figure out how to start making that a regular thing on the show. So thank you for the questions.
Cool. I would love to be involved in some of those if you're up for having me.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, I just didn't want to keep going back to the same wells, which is why I largely tried to leave you guys alone.
Yep. No, I get that, and because then it would very quickly become the George and Jeremy and Mark and Kenneth and Nick show, and I totally appreciate you wanting to get out and get other guests, but do know that it is not I don't want to bother Mark and ask him to be on the show again. I am happy to be on the show anytime that. Well, assuming my schedule allows it, but I'm happy to be on the show anytime you want me on the show. So,
well, duly noted. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I could have corrected Nick on all the solar stuff that.
So you really are. If we do start doing a video focus thing, you are going to have to dress up like Waldorf and or Statler.
Oh. Yes, yeah, that is our role.
Statler and Waldorf are my spirit animals. Although I have to, yeah. Anyway,
so fantastic.
Cool.
Okay. Oh, okay. Hi, Mike. It's been a while since I've been in the talk group. So KIR, just down, up the road from me.
Yep, he's the.
A fair piece.
The notorious mower.
I'm the one with the big lawn.
So the thing is, I mean, if memory serves, like you went back over to the HRO booth with me to go talk to the Hytera guys again. So yeah, let's just actually, Kenneth, did you? I mean, your picture's been pretty clear tonight. Did you actually get real bandwidth since we last spoke?
Have you
moved? No, like I have no idea why it's working so well, but I'm still on. Just
maybe everybody's on vacation in your
that literally might be it, because I'm just on the 10 megabit complex Wi-Fi and it's working fine.
Outstanding. Well, it is working well.
The cruel irony of running my own ISP and having terrible internet at home.
Do you not have a line of sight between Fremont 2 and your apartment?
I don't, and the sponsorship doesn't include roof access. Roof access.
That's true.
$250 per antenna per month on the roof.
Yeah, no, I remember having that conversation. Yeah, because I was trying to figure out whether we could get line of sight up to what is it, Bear Mountain or Black Mountain? The one where
Black Mountain is the South Bay
one with George's
Baynet one.
Yeah. I was trying to see if we could get line of sight up there.
Yeah, I wish the practice for me like that, where a couple of years ago I was trying to put a couple of for line of sight to provide internet service to farmers. Man, they wanted $30,000 a year. So yeah.
We've got a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend deal.
We don't have that many friends.
Well, it's a chain of friends.
This is the Silicon Valley. So after a relatively small number of circle of friends out, it turns out that we know someone who owns a data center who's interested in project stuff. So it's like
doing the Lord's work.
Yes, but I got him to sponsor. So that was the big news today, is that I was in a meeting with him yesterday, and he agreed to sponsor us a second rack in a different data center. And so this internet exchange thing I've been running now is going to be multi-site. So
okay, funny story about this. Kenneth, how much of this can I go into, like the background of these cabinets and whatnot? Not the details, but at least you and I and our
I run an AS, and
Okay,
I'm gonna go get something to drink. I'll be right back. Tell the story.
So, funny internet story. We have this deal where we've got friends who can get us some stuff, and when we found out that we have this friend of a friend of a friend deal where we can get this stuff, Kenneth and I started talking to Kenneth. I'm like, networking is hard. You need somebody who already knows how to do the networking stuff. BGP is black magic voodoo, and to me, it's black magic voodoo. I am not that networking person, but I know somebody who is. And we started talking about it, and he wanted to go like one way with the cabinet, and I wanted to go a different way with the cabinet. And so finally, he's just like, you know what? I'm going to get my own cabinet. I'm like, do you really want to do that? Because
it's pretty hard.
Thing is hard. You might regret this, but I'll leave the door open. If you want to come back, let me know. And Anyway, fast forward a year. Now he's already running his own internet exchange because apparently it wasn't hard enough.
Nope, it was relatively straightforward.
Oh my gosh! Oh, it helps to have friends. One of the friends in that friend of a friend of a friend chain works at Cisco and does this stuff professionally. Yeah. So having him in that chain of friends made it. I'm sure that short-circuited your learning process. Let's put it that way.
Well, it was that, and then also I think I managed to get lucky, and I picked the right random BGP textbook for a 14-hour flight to China.
Oh yeah, that'll do it.
So just like 14 hours there and 14 hours back of just reading this book. I'm like, okay, that all makes really kind of straightforward sense after
BGP, the parts the internet actually uses.
The funny part about BGP, so for those that don't know, BGP is the routing protocol that the internet uses between each different service provider, and it turns out that
border gateway protocol.
Yes, border gateway protocol, and it is fundamentally an extremely simple routing protocol.
It is,
and so once you kind of grasp the mechanics of it, literally is just it's a vector distance protocol at the network level, not like the router or hop level, but at the whole network level.
Autonomous system.
Yes. It ends up being a relatively simple thing to then build all of the other complexity on top of. And so, yeah, not only do I run my own autonomous system, I started running my own internet exchange. And that joke got out of hand very quickly.
Very quickly.
Very quickly.
What, the third largest internet exchange at Hurricane Electric Fremont too?
Yeah, so that's the joke, is we're the third largest internet exchange in the building. Although the thing is, we're actually coming up pretty rapidly on the second largest one. Because the thing is, since we started it as a joke, we didn't want to charge for it. Because if we charged money to join this exchange and then it broke, they'd expect me to fix it. And so we're not charging money for it, which means that anyone that wants to join doesn't need to get the finance department of their company involved.
Yep.
So I only have to pitch it to the network engineers and go, yeah, sure, no problem. And there's literally zero cost for them to join.
Well, they have to pay for the cross connect.
No, they don't. Hurricane Electric sponsors the cross connect.
You're joking.
No, it is
completely
$0, right? And
cool.
so we do this, and then all of a sudden, all these sponsors start coming out of the woodwork, and so we needed an Ethernet switch. So it turns out that my godfather's son works at the TAC for Arista, and called me and said, "Hey, we want to sponsor you. Here's an Ethernet switch.
Here's a switch."
And it turns out someone follows me on Twitter who works at Flex Optics, which is a fiber optic transceiver company. So he DMs me on Twitter, says, "Hey, I saw your internet exchange thing on Reddit. I think it's great. We want to sponsor you and give you fiber optic transceivers." Right? I've got one of them here, right? And so,
okay.
Right, and so we've got the fiber optic transceivers from Flex Optics, so there's no cost there. And then the fiber optic cable that runs between our cabinet and every new network's cabinet, the data center was willing to sponsor us and cover the cost of the fiber optic cable, so they're giving those to us. So they're the only cost to join the exchange for anyone is the new member has to get an optical transceiver for their router, and every network has spares of those just laying around.
And if you don't, they're about, depending on what your router is, anywhere between $10 and $50.
Yeah,
not much.
Right, and so it's just this long series of crazy events, and all of a sudden it's oh yeah, we're actually running a somewhat viable internet exchange now.
So there's not related to the internet exchange, but there's a question in the chat that I know some of you will be quite passionate about, which is how's MikroTik?
Well, MikroTik has this tendency of having 0 days a lot, and so about every 6 months there's a MikroTik botnet out there. So I like using MikroTik behind firewalls. I like in the home, I think MikroTiks are great. As far as doing this BGP level infrastructure stuff.
Oh God, not even close.
It's not there. I wouldn't say it's as bad as Ubiquiti. I've had lots of experience with the Ubiquiti BGP stack because those actually tend to just not behave correctly. And so I've literally been on like two of the members have joined the exchange with Ubiquiti router gear, which is, you know, nominally Ubiquiti and MikroTik are kind of like the same sort of caliber of equipment. And the Ubiquiti stuff will say, yeah, I'm only advertising this one prefix, and then it will be sending us the whole table. And so literally the user interface is lying to you about how dysfunctional Ubiquiti is. It was saying, yeah, I'm only advertising this one prefix that you asked me to. And then I was emailing them screenshots of my side saying, nope, your BGP session, you're sending me 17,000 prefixes. It was just leaking about it was just leaking like 2% of the routing table to the exchange.
Of the internet, yeah.
Yeah, right. And so it's like, thank God I had filtering turned on my side, because my route servers were then going, I don't think you wanted to send us all 17,000 of these routes.
So if you're asking about using MikroTik inside the house, I'm the wrong person to ask. I've got dumb Netgear and Ubiquiti switches. I use the Ubiquiti AC hotspots, but all of my routing is done manually by me because it's what I do professionally. So I'm running a Raspberry Pi, running Linux and IP tables, and that's all of my routing is through that. So I don't know anything about any of the other brands of routers or Tomato or OpenWord or anything like that. I just have no experience with it.
So speaking of routers, what do you guys think of pfSense?
It's another one I've never used. Like I said, I know Linux, I know IP tables. I can bend Linux and IP tables to my will, so I've never bothered trying to learn anything else.
I played with pfSense a little bit, and I think for what it is, like I think it kind of meets expectations for me in that it's a perfectly serviceable consumer network operating system with all of the like slightly brokenness that you'd expect in an open source network operating system like that. That, like, yeah, it has this feature, but it never seems to quite work right. The documentation's always a little bit out of date, and so I mean, if someone really wanted to build their own router out of an x86 box, I would say, yeah, like pfSense would be your first choice for routing operating systems on it. Because like I run an x86 router running just straight up Debian and my own RC scripts, which I don't think is at all reasonable. Yeah,
well, it is if you know how to use all the tools. But yeah,
right? So, yeah, like, you know, at one point I knew how to write IP table rules, and so it was no big problem at the time. But yeah.
Like I said, it was my day job for too many years.
But yeah, like at this point, if my apartment were to burn down and I needed to get a new router, I probably would get one of the new MikroTik little white box ones for my home router, because as long as you're willing to have as many knobs as MikroTik puts on there, it's a great router. The problem is, it doesn't make any sense in a commercial setting. Like, usually in commercial settings, you would want to have some sort of Cisco or Juniper or something, some sort of higher end router there. And for consumer stuff, there's very few consumers that are advanced enough to be able to ever stand a chance of running MikroTik. And so it is kind of this awkward middle ground that, yeah, like for like wireless ISPs and stuff, it's okay, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing WISP over a few areas in California and Tennessee. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Cool. So I see we've had some other folks join.
Yep.
Steve Sainer and Donald Gover. Hi, Donald. Donald was the first person I saw at the convention last year.
No. I also want to point out that Juna is complaining that we are not talking about radio stuff. So the problem is that we're not actually on the radio. So we're not allowed to talk about things like radio or the weather or our medical conditions. We need to get on the radio to be able to talk about those things, apparently.
Okay, so to talk about my age, I am first of all, I'm holding a radio. Okay, it's a radio. It's not a ham radio, though. It's a commercial radio. And I'm drinking V8.
Is it actually a commercial radio, though?
It's Hytera PD 365. Okay. It's a commercial radio. Here, hold on. If that's not commercial enough for you.
My any tones in the other room. And we lost Kenneth.
Because he just went to go pull out a bag of Motorola.
Yeah, this is what I hear. I don't know if they're gonna.
Nice.
Motorola HT750 reskinned with the aftermarket red case.
I was going to ask if that means it's intrinsically safe.
Yeah, no, it's
Are you participating in ham radio cosplay? Is that what that
is? You know what?
Well, sadly, so I bought a whole bunch of these VHF 750s, which are actually part 90 radios. And sadly, what do I do with them? I use them on merge. They're part 95, so it's not legal.
This radio came orange. That's a genuine Midland VP31F.
What do you do with all of these HTs?
Well, these
You've only got two hands.
These are FRS, so these are great for the kids, and they're USB rechargeable. They're great for radios for people who don't want to do radios. Now they
come with belt clips.
That is true.
Yes, they come with belt clips. 2 in the hands, the rest on your belt.
Yeah, and don't forget your bandolier for radios. 73 Juna. But anyway, this is another one because our radios just come. This is a Hytera. They call this the AR42G, but this radio is actually just firmware hacked for being an amateur radio. They make a commercial version of this.
Version of that hardware.
Yeah. This is what this is the guy that I picked up at Hamvention and paid like I don't know $300 for. Now they're selling for $200.
Bummer.
No, and the thing is I knew this radio is worth it. Like for $199 to have a commercial radio, sure. Of course, this is also the radio that George somehow loaded.
That's right.
George somehow loaded the firmware for this guy onto this guy. And the thing is, I think these radios have the same brain because the menu systems are identical. The difference is this is an OLED display and this is an LCD. So his display went wonky. He may not have actually bricked the radio. I mean, it may have still all worked except for the display driver. But he sent it to Hytera, who graciously offered to fix that for him. Now, the complaint I have with this is that they, at Hamvention, which was 7 months ago now, kept talking about all these features they were going to be adding to this radio, and they were going to do it the same way that Travis Goodspeed was able to create the firmware for the Hytera MD380 by nuking all the Chinese language menus, which apparently take up a lot of space, to make more room for features. And still nothing on that front. They were also going to release a mobile. That did not happen either. So
don't believe it until you see it.
But I do love this radio, and the best part is this radio, first of all, came with a high cap battery, and it shares the same batteries with my legit Hytera 682. In fact, that's it with the sexy fat pack on it.
Nice.
So,
I'm sorry, I missed that. Can you repeat all that? Kidding.
Sexy fat pack. That's all you needed to know.
Oh, well, that's
right there. Sexy.
It's all about the fat pack.
You are talking about me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I like my Hytera gear.
Ooh, that's blown out.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
I have one of those sitting around here too somewhere.
Yeah, I've been really happy with it. It's the VFO sucks. At least it has a VFO. It's not very convenient, but it has one. And as far as just durability and usability as a channelized radio, I really like it. My Anytone. I'm super happy with my Anytone.
Something YouTube directing.
Juma, not sure what you mean, unless you're talking about the screen switching, which is supposed to be
audio detecting. Yeah.
Yes.
What's going on?
Juna's asking a question in the chat that doesn't make any sense, or that I don't understand. But.
There is a
something
distinction
YouTube
there.
directing going on. Oh, yeah. He's probably talking about the voice switching of the video.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I could technically hear now. You will all only see Kenneth.
Woo! Yeah. So Speaking of wireless ISPs, actually, last week I guess I don't think I made very much noise about this on Twitter. I actually renewed my OSHA tower climbing certification last week. So I am now actually again a professional tower climber.
That's good. We need more of those.
Right.
I think Ivan's trying to show us some hack RF stuff that he's doing right now.
Yeah, so I just found local good enough signal for myself, so I'm gonna see what the hell that is.
All right. Yeah. Cool.
So yeah. We'll see how far we'll go today. You guys familiar with Unitrunker?
I am not.
Nope.
No. Well, that's not gonna be that much fun for you then.
Bummer.
You fit right in here.
Pretty much for cops and for medics and so much more agencies to use as a communication platform. So instead of using each agency using 1 or 2 or 5 frequencies that they need, they just use a bank of frequencies, let's say 15 frequencies, and they just those frequencies on system. So yeah, that's in a couple words.
Yeah, I'm familiar with what trunking is. Just I didn't know about that particular tool that you were talking about.
Unitrunker is a thing that pretty much you play around with to listen to whatever you need to listen on trunking systems. So let's see if I could get this thing running today, because for some reason it just reset all my settings. So 84336. Let's see if anything's there, and then I'll make sure that my device shows up. Okay, here it is. Let's see if it works. Cross my fingers. Let's see. I need to make.
I hear the truck running.
Yes, I'm inside the truck that is running. Okay, so it looks like it's working. But...
I always love when somebody is surprised when something works.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's working.
Right.
Holy crap, who knew?
That wasn't supposed to happen. God.
I'm always suspicious when things work on the first try, though.
Yeah.
I know, right? It's crazy. So, looks like I got some response. If this window opened up right here, that means it did get... Okay, I got LCN number. That means it does listen, but I'm sure I'm not too good on my warp because my HRWB thingy is not exactly correct on the... Like, the PPMs are wrong on it, so I need to correct that manually. And I just corrected as far as I remember how much I need to correct. So let me reset it. See if it goes. So it did get Motorola right here. It got the site name. So here's this up, and now I'm not sure if I have Wi-Fi in the truck right now. I don't think so. But anyways, regardless of that, so it's already got one frequency. Now it's gonna look for more frequencies that are gonna be coming in from the control channel. So we'll see what happens. Sometimes it takes few seconds, sometimes it takes minutes. So you never know which. Okay, actually we do know. We should be able to know which protocol. Yeah, it's Motorola, nothing special. So yeah, so it's a narrow. So we would make sure the emphasis is on. Not too, I would say, crazy, but it's an interesting thing once in a while.
Cool. I don't travel nearly as much as you do, but for me, I know what all the channels are around here, and I don't think we do anything that's trunking. And I've got those channels programmed into my radio, but I almost never listen to them. Not entirely sure why. I'm usually, if I'm listening to anything other than a podcast or an audiobook, I'm usually listening to one of the local repeaters.
SDR trunk. I have SDR trunk, just the basic Unitrunker. I will look into your SDR trunk. We'll see.
So one other thing, in case you weren't aware of this, because I heard you talking about the offset. So if you don't have a way to discipline the oscillator in the radio, excuse me, sorry, I choked on a peanut, which is why I disappeared for a moment. I'm okay, probably.
How big of a peanut was it?
It was like a little tiny chunk that got kind of stuck back here in the my throatal region.
Throatal region.
Some medical terms are very, very serious. Anyway, so throughout the United States, where we still have broadcast television, every single ATSC channel is required to have something called a pilot signal, which is a very narrow band but very strong signal that is offset from the base frequency of the television channel. And because these are TV stations, they invest a lot of money in having really accurate clocks for transmitting this signal. But you can look up, if you look up ATSC pilot signal, you'll find the frequency for a local channel. You'll figure out what the actual kilohertz offset is, which I can't, it's like 0.49058 or something. But you can use that to tune your hack RF into, and then adjust the offset until the readout of the radio actually matches that, because you know that's a good known signal. So that's a good way to kind of tune your radio.
I did this easier. I put the SDR console in my case, and then I pretty much went to known frequency on FM radio, literally. I just went on there, and I on one of the tabs here, okay, radio configuration right here, I just did this, like how much offset in hertz, and it gave me ppm, how much ppm I need to go. And then from there, it was so easy. And then when I take ppm into the unit trunker, so like, let's see, okay, this is, oh, that's a site name, never mind, I need the radios. So in the radios, I just punch in the PM. Oh shoot! Everything runs away from me today. So we just go 13.9247. That's going to be my ppm for tonight. I don't know how. I noticed that if my HackRF does any quick change, it will run away with my ppm. So let's see if it's gonna go in right away right now. Okay, that looks promising. We'll see. So this one's still parked. Okay, it did get full signal. It in here it gets RSSI are like almost 199 right now. So I don't know if it's gonna go, but let's hope, cross our fingers, because this is a lot of fun things, a really fun thing to do. And it's like I forgot my the radio reference password. Yep. Yeah, I can't remember my password. That sucks.
This is compelling YouTube right here.
Right here.
Get on a software. Usually it remembers my settings, passwords, and everything. But right now I just started and it doesn't remember. I had like different groups there that I had preset, and I just had to click and go. But today nothing shows up. It just hates me today.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yes. So speaking of oscillators,
yeah,
I never did set up that NTP server.
That's outrageous, because I actually did.
Yeah. What is it? How do you? Sorry, do you have a GPS discipline?
No, mine is a Strata 2. It was much easier. Well, because the problem is in the middle of a data center, you don't have such good, cell phone or GPS
reception.
Yes. And it's one of those things that, I'd be more motivated to try and put more effort into it, except that the data center itself has a CDMA Strata 1 NTP server, since they have access to the roof themselves. And so I wasn't particularly motivated to
build one of those. For NTP, certainly, but in the shack, in your shack, though, having access to a 10 megahertz oscillator might be handy.
And
which
that
I do have.
Right, I've built one of those, so that I do have.
I've been tempted to buy one of those or build one of those, but I have no test equipment that would consume it.
Bummer.
I bought the Leo Bodnar mini one at Hamvention last year.
Hey, Jeremy, do you want to go ahead and bring me up to the foreground?
Done.
Okay. So I was talking a little bit earlier about this audio device that I'm building. I don't know how well you guys can see the resolution on this, but this is a board that I just sent out to Fab a little bit ago. The idea being that I want to be able to hook up microphone and headphones from like a gaming PC or gaming headset, cheap 20, 30, 40 buck headset here, plus an external PTT or a little button on the board. So that's the human interface side of this. Then on the other side is the radio 3.5 millimeter and 2.5 millimeter connectors that go to a standard quote unquote Kenwood connector, which my Anytone uses, the Baofeng uses. Actually, I don't know about the Baofeng, but the MD380 uses, and it's a very common headphone connector or speaker mic connector. Anyway, and then another 4-pin connector that goes out to an iPhone or pretty much any smartphone. Obviously in the new iPhones, you got to use the dongles, but it still works on the dongles. Anyway, the idea being that this is how all of the audio gets routed. So the microphone from the headset goes straight into the radio, and so you're talking directly into the radio. And I didn't draw the PTT, but the PTT goes in there as well. But that mic gets split and goes into a mixer into the iPhone input. The radio output, so the audio from the radio also gets split and sent into the iPhone input. So the iPhone is now recording a mix of your microphone audio and the radio audio. Both of those get mixed in and sent into the iPhone so you can record it. Similarly, your headphones are taking a mix of the radio output and the iPhone output, so you can listen to things coming from the iPhone. Like if you need to play back a recording or something, and you don't want to have to take the headphones off to be able to listen to it. So the radio out and the iPhone out both get mixed and sent over to the phone. To your headphones.
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
What if I have an Android?
It should work on that as well. So you can scrape off the silk screen and write Android on there if you want to.
You just got to get the iPhone.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's the standard 4-pin TRRS, where the tip is left, the first ring is right, the second ring is ground, and the shield, the fourth pin on that thing is actually the microphone audio. I'm pretty sure that Android and iPhone use the same pin out on that.
I think it depends on the phone, actually.
Okay.
Asterisk.
You're making it for yourself.
Yeah, I'm making it for myself, but I'm sure it'll work on a lot of other people's devices too. And you can make a custom cable if you need things to route to different areas. But anyway, all of this in a little board, voltage in, there's a little 4-gang op amp down here, all the mixing and everything. DC blocked so that you don't have to worry about DC coupling anywhere. I mean, it's, I tried to address all of the things. And the vast majority of the resistors are 10Ks. I think I've got a 100K here, and I think there's another couple of 100s on the back. And all the capacitors are 1 microfarads, except for the big electrolytics. So there's a very few different types of components. It should be pretty simple and easy to make.
Oh, yeah, you can see right there in the silk screen, all the 10K.
All the 10K, that's right. All the 10K resistors on that. Let's take a look at the back side of it. So I got some 1 microfarads, more 10s. I got a couple of 100s over here. I put 100s on the speaker outputs, so like the headphone outputs and things, just to provide a headphone-ish load to the radio and to your iPhone. but then those go straight into DC blocking caps, and then from there into the 1K. They're either 1K or 10K pots that serve as the mixer.
I think they're 10K.
Yeah, 10K.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I built. I ordered it right before the Christmas holiday, so Osh Park didn't actually send it out to Fab until Wednesday of this week. So I'll probably get it when I'm out of town. Lovely. So anyway, I'll get it in a few weeks and come back and assemble it and try and start working some satellites. Any questions on that?
Sounds like fun.
Yay. K7RR, Cliff Bouchard. Or Bouchon? Bouchard? It's been a while. Anyway, Cliff, K7RR. He's the guy who, Fox 1 Cliff, the most recent Oscar satellite to go up, Fox 1 Cliff, was named after him. He was a ham in my local area. I knew about Fox 1 Cliff, but I didn't realize that it was K7RR Cliff that they named it after. And he died of cancer 10, 12 years ago or so. But he and I were friends in the area. We belonged to the same club. So I miss him. He was cool. So yeah, that's that. That's what's on my workbench.
See if I can share this. Huh? Hey.
Let me make you dominant.
That I am, sir. So this is so for my NTP server, this is called I put it in ntppool.org, and kind of a neat thing about NTP Pool is that they have so they have these big DNS pools of the users all put in just a pool.ntppool.org host name, and then they actually monitor all of the NTP servers and they assign each one a score. And so only when you have a good score on your NTP server, they add it to the pool and then let other people use it. And so this is their monitoring of my server. So you can see the green dots kind of oscillating between about -1 and +1.5 milliseconds.
I was going to ask you, what are the units on that? Milliseconds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can kind of see it just kind of sits there and oscillates. And this is just a little cheapy FX160 Dell Atom thin client box sitting in my cabinet. So yeah, cool. I don't have to go stand up and get mine. That one right there. What Mark is holding up.
If memory serves, you guys negotiated the transfer of that on one of these streams.
Probably.
I believe it. Yeah. No, and then I left it just on top of their cabinet.
On top of my cabinet, yeah.
2 cabinets down. Yeah, so I originally got a stack of 12 of those, and I've been trying to figure out what to do with them. And unfortunately, internally it has this proprietary 1 gigabyte SSD. And
are they even a gig?
Yeah, they're 1 gig. They're 1 gig.
Okay.
So it's enough that in my apartment I can use them with iSCSI. And so the one that I have in my apartment, the 1 gig SSD in it has enough smarts to boot it and mount the iSCSI volume off of my NAS, and then there's a full Linux system. But I want these to be portable, and so you have to buy this 2.5-inch hard drive bracket and cable adapter thing. Yeah, that thing. Which it's frustratingly enough, it is like the SATA connector, but it's so tight that you can't
stick another connector in there.
But there's a cable harness set and bracket to put a 2.5-inch drive into it, which were on eBay for like $11 a piece, and I should have bought like 6 of them, but I only bought 1.
Well, I bought one too.
Right, and now they're sold out, and they're like the next seller has them for like $17. And I don't know if it's worth $17 to me to build any more of these up. So.
Oh, Kenneth.
So Ed, guys, I just got Ed's text message from an hour ago that his camera's working and he's ready to join the stream.
Sweet.
Hi, Ed.
Good to have you on the stream.
Yeah. So what have you been working on lately?
Well, interestingly enough, I have been dealing with oscillators and filters, but just of a different.
Yours are going bleep bloop, aren't they?
Yeah, mine are going bleep bloop. Mine's more in the audio spectrum. I discovered that well, since I was probably about 10 years old, I've been lusting after the Mini Moog Model D.
Oh, okay.
And turns out the Behringer made a circuit for circuit clone of the Mini Moog.
Really?
For less than right now, you can
$300.
buy it for less than $300 on Amazon.
Yep.
Wow.
And I have seen people who have owned it and who have it, and they play it side by side, and you really can't tell the difference. As a matter of fact, they say there's enough difference between two Mini Moogs that you don't hear the other. So yeah, I've been trying to do a little bit of music. So for me, I don't have a ham shack in the house, so all my operating I do is all portable. I do it out front, where I will go to the park. And now that, now that apparently we live in, I don't know, we've got 50% more rain this year than we normally do. It's been raining and it's also cold, and I don't like that. So I sort of do ham radio mostly during the warm days and music during the cold. So I'm in my music phase right now. But yeah, I'm actually looking at doing, say, Euro rack and starting to build some some modules, things like that. But
what part of the country are you in?
I'm in Alexandria, Virginia.
Virginia, okay.
Yeah, just the suburbs of DC is the best way. And yeah, so I used to make pedals. I had a business, a short run business. I made guitar effects pedals, and this was manufacturing back when I actually had an etch to do the etching. I would print to a piece of glossy paper, iron it onto a piece of copper board.
For each individual board,
board, and then I made an etcher using. I got a aquarium bubbler and heater that I used to actually make my etch tank, and then I would hand drill. And I can't do that anymore because I can't. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to see it. But yeah, I just decided I kind of missed doing those kind of electronics projects. So I've been doing that, trying to get into that, making some pedals. I just did a repair on a 1972 Electro-Harmonix Big Muff. The guy tracked me down. He lived in California, and yet he wanted me to fix it for him because I had done a repair video I've got up on YouTube where I did another one on a later model, like I think it was the late 70s or early 80s, where the pots were really kind of rough and they just were, all the lubrication was gone. And on the old pots, like the old CTS pots, you can actually lift the tabs up and pull it apart. If you're careful, pull it all apart, clean everything, put new grease inside of it, put it in, close it in. Now that's it. Once you've done it, you can't do it again because it'll the stress fracture eventually, like work hard with stress fracture. But the reason for doing that is that these pedals are incredibly expensive, provided you've got the original parts. Now, it's a potentiometer. It doesn't really matter, but
I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
So, I mean, is it for the sound or is it for collectors?
It's for collectors. It's for collectors, and it's for the guitarists who are absolutely convinced that there was a certain set of mojo in, a 100K pot that was made back then compared to a 100K pot that's made now. So, and in this particular one, like, so the one I just fixed, the guy's got this thing and working new, a 72 Arrow. This is the triangle Big Muff. If you're familiar at all with the whole thing, they go for about $500. That's about mean. So they're pretty pricey in the collecting market. And, they actually use a strangely, you can't find them, a strangely marked transistor. But turns out it was just a repackaged of a more common transistor that I actually happen to have. But yeah, the guy sent it to me, and it was one of those deals that, you know, you're trying to troubleshoot, nothing was working, you know, or actually I put it all together because he shipped it to me all in pieces. I put it together, plugged it in to see what it was doing, and it worked perfectly. And I'm like, and I made the mistake of taking a video and sharing it with him, going, everything works. Very next day, it stopped working. And I didn't do anything. And I kept messing around with it. And as I was using the soldering iron, just to look for like loose connections and things like that, I touched the soldering iron onto the tip of one of the transistors and had the whole thing on just to hear what was going on, because I was almost ready to give up. And all of a sudden it came on. Took the soldering iron off, and in a few moments it went away. And it got to the point where if you heated up the I think it was the collector, one of the pins of the transistor, and you just touched the top of the transistor came on, and then after a moment it cooled off and it went away.
Really?
So I've got the videos up on YouTube, and I pulled that out. I measured, so I was measuring the gain of it because I wanted to match, to get at least the same match. I couldn't get the same part. They don't exist anymore. But I ended up doing that. Got it to come up just enough, and you can then watch it as soon as I get the top value. You just see the gain level just go down to 0. The craziest thing. I have no idea what actually caused it.
Interesting. But, if I had to guess, there's probably just a loose connection inside the transistor, and when you heat it up, it expands or something like that.
That's pretty much where I was thinking.
Yeah.
So I just
failed bond wire. Yeah.
Yeah. I just pasted a link in the YouTube chat, and I'll post it somewhere else if you want it. But there is an article on the 808 and the specific transistor that they had for the 808 to get that sound of that drum. That it was a failed batch of transistors.
Yeah.
That they only made, that one batch, and that batch failed, and they threw the manufacturer of the transistor threw them away. And the gentleman who was doing all the rolling stuff, I can't remember that guy's name, but he was going around testing transistors, looking for a certain sound from them. And this failed batch of transistors had the sound he needed to make the drum machine, the analog drum machine.
Yeah.
And so that was the only batch of transistors that could have ever been used to make the 808 drum machine, the iconic 808 drum machine.
Yeah, and there's so much of that. Yeah, I did. It's funny because I also ran a repair for vintage tube amps.
You and I need to talk.
And and the thing is you look inside of these things, and they're using carbon comp resistors, which are the cheapest resistors. Nice, they are the cheapest resistors you can get. Like when I built my pedals, I used all 1% tolerance parts.
Yeah.
And turned out to make a very quiet pedal. But again, it's, if you see that, it doesn't make any difference. They want that particular mojo. They want, it doesn't sound good unless it's carbon comp, because, electricity flows, whatever. But anyway, so yeah, I've in dealing with, used to deal with a lot of people, and, with wanting to, or the people who buy a Fender amp and say, "Hey, can you modify this to sound like a Marshall?" Like,
no,
you could sell it, buy a Marshall. But about the only thing you can do is buy a Fender Bassman, and then you've essentially got a Marshall. I mean, because Marshall started off copying the Bassman.
Nice.
But anyway, that's kind of my the thing. But Jeremy, you've dropped off, Jeremy. So when you come,
I'm still here.
Oh, okay, Jeremy. I thought I didn't see you there.
No.
So here's the radio thing I've been wanting to ask you. So over the summer, I've tested out 2 portable vertical antennas, quarter wave fishing pole antennas, essentially. One of them is a multi-band, and it's a fan vertical. So there's no
vertical. Okay.
Fan vertical. It's there's a guy in the UK, and the antenna is the DX Commander, and the thing goes up. I think it's 30 some meters, and he puts plates around. He's got plates all milled out. They go up the length of the antenna, and what do I have right now? I've got 4. Yeah, I've got 3 leads going up, 3 antenna elements going up, and then the 40 meter actually goes up and then comes back down, and sort of gives you a loaded top. So you get, I think it's 17. So it's 17 and 40, and then I've got like a 15 and a 20. And I gotta say, the whole setup, it takes about 20 minutes to get set up. So the question for you, Jeremy, being in your, I know you're in a HOA restricted, can you for an afternoon put an antenna like that up, do some radio, and then take it down at the end of the day, or are people going to get fidgety with that?
So you remember that if memory serves, you and I both had those painter's poles, right?
Yeah, the painter's pole. Yep.
So I had an adapter to put my buddy pole on the painter's pole, and when I moved into this house, the very first thing I did is I went out and got some PVC and a I don't know, I think it's technically, it's like I think it's called a flange, but it's basically it's made to take Schedule 40 iron pipe nipples to screw into it, but there's a PVC connector that'll screw into it as well. So I got that. I got a piece big enough, about 3 feet tall, so that I could stick the painter's pole down into it and then just use a couple of bungee cables to clamp it into the corner on my deck. And so what I would do is I would take that out, throw the buddy pole up. It was just high enough to clear my roof line, and I'd play HF for a little while, and nobody ever said anything.
Okay. Well, so yeah, I mean, so up until I've been using, I've been a huge fan of NFEDs. The PAR. I think, in fact, I bought Jeremy's PAR NFED. Might have bought both of them, and but the nice thing about the verticals now is I don't have to worry about a tree, and I can just set. Now, ironically though, since we planted more trees in our front yard, I've lost all the good spots to actually put the verticals. And
now you just need to string some wires between the trees.
Well, Jeremy will tell you about
it. It doesn't work that way.
No, I actually have in my front yard about a 50-foot tall American sycamore, and it is the tree that always ate the kite in Charlie Brown.
Yeah, it's a bastard of a tree.
Sycamores. Yeah,
it has claws. When I first got my license, I had actually thrown. I think I did kind of an NFED where I threw line up over the tree, came down to an or something like that, and then to my radio, and just had it strung through the window, and more or less just a monitor, but in fact, I don't even think I might not even had the my license at the time, but I had the little my little radio, HF radio, and within a day or two, we had this derecho come through DC, wiped out so much of like our power and everything. And it moved the tree back and forth enough that when I finally
just snapped it.
Well, it didn't snap it, but it was taunting. It was like guitar string taunt pulling at the window. And
and the wall of your house falls off.
Well, yeah, almost. The funny thing is I've had the best reception because this area is awful for noise.
Oh, every area is. Me too.
Nah, I think this area is even worse. But yeah, it's
well, my apartment is S8 to S9 noise floor on 6 meters on a magnetic loop.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay.
I win.
Yeah, that is pretty bad. We get about S6 is about our normal here. And but because everything was shut off, it was so quiet, and I was here in Australia.
Yeah.
And on my 817, and it was beautiful. So
my noise floor here on 40 meters is typically S7 to S9, and yeah, it's horrible. It's unusable.
Yeah.
But a few years ago, we had a county-wide power outage. So with PG&E, everybody knows how PG&E sucks these days. But there is a very large regional distribution hub is not far from here that feeds the county, and we had one of the 750 kilovolt lines feeding into that hub that went down, and so we had about a 15-minute county-wide brownout. And then they just cut power to the entire county. Luckily, I had batteries on my HF rig, so I'm like, "Oh, run to the radio! Run to the radio!" I turned it on, and it was like S1, S2. It was glorious.
Yeah,
that experience is what has gotten me looking for places where I can get some land out in the middle of freaking nowhere with no electrical noise. Put up a radio and a station there, but I need to get internet into the place. I can do solar for power, but I need the internet thing, and I haven't gotten that part figured out yet.
But you haven't heard of internet over Sunspot yet?
No. Well, it doesn't matter. You've heard that we're headed in for like the longest Sunspot cycle on record, right?
You mean the driest?
The driest.
We want sunspots.
I know. Yeah. So the longest cycle meaning that we're in the dark spot, and it's going to be dark for a long time.
Yeah. Thank God I decided to be a ham now.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. So the company I work for, actually, one of the things that we do is provide, what's the best way that we put it? Yeah, we provide technology solutions for rural broadband.
Okay.
So we deal with we have a lot of co-op members all over rural America, and one of the things we do is help them with that. And one of the things is satellite, and the new satellite just went up, but I haven't really heard a whole lot on what the throughput, but it's supposed to be a more improved throughput on that.
Well, when you get anything out in Chorizo Plain in California or California Valley, let me know, because you can get 2.5 acres out there for about $5,000. And $5,000 to $10,000 depending on where in the neighborhood. Yeah, it's you don't want to be out there. Trust me. You don't want to live out there. That's for sure. The water out there. There's no city provided water. It's all well, and the well is all alkali. And anyway, but it is kind of one of those perfect places out in the middle of freaking nowhere, since nobody's out there. That is one of the things that I'm considering.
Yeah, I've thought about it. I've been considering taking, so I've got the Kenwood oh crap, what is it?
480 SAT.
Thanks, Jeremy. I've got
Ask me how I know.
The infamous 480. Yeah, so I've been thinking about taking that to my dad's house, and he's up in north central PA, or like central part of Pennsylvania, and a more rural spot. I've been thinking about doing that and doing a remote setup, but yeah, it's but right now, really, like I said, my biggest thing is portable. I do have to rebuild my my battery box, though. I think I was actually running the 480, and I was getting, I think I told you earlier, Jeremy, I was getting huge voltage drop on the 40 amp hour battery, the LifePo battery box. But it's we built those about 5 years ago?
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, might be 6.
Yeah, it might be 6.
I mean, and the thing is, I don't know how you've maintained yours.
Well, until you get that low voltage cutoff, poorly.
Yeah, so I finally actually. Oh, well, actually, hold on a second. Hold on.
All right. While he's away, Ed, I'm gonna hijack the conversation briefly.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about one of my other projects besides Ham Radio is audiophile headphone amplifiers.
Yep.
So this is a design. Electrically, it was designed by Ed Fong? No, he's the one who does the antennas.
Ron Kwan.
Ron Kwan, thank you. Ron Kwan.
Okay.
It's a 12 DS7 space charge tube based design. It's entirely 12 volts, but there's no FET in here. So there's no high voltage. The tubes are able to provide enough power to actually directly derive some efficient high impedance headphones. But it's all 12 volt, low voltage.
Really?
So that's a fun little design.
That's interesting. And you said it's a 12
volt plate.
What's the tube?
12 DS7.
12 DS7. I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, it's a space charge tube. Do you know what the space charges are?
No, I've not.
So in the brief period, it was about 10 years between when radios were getting small enough to put into cars, but before transistors came along.
Gotcha.
They were trying to make these tubes so that they didn't have to have the vibrators in them to turn the 12 volts into 120 volts or 240 volts for the plate voltage. So they were trying to make it so that you didn't. The way they did that before we had switching power supplies was literally have something that oscillated or like a buzzer, and then you turned on and off the 12 volts, and you feed that into a transformer, and that gave you your plate voltage. And it was a physical mechanical oscillating device. And they would just go bad, and they made noise, and it was horrible. So they designed these tubes to run off of a 12 volt plate, and actually get usable gain out of them.
Damn, that wouldn't hurt that as bad.
Yes, exactly.
So ask me how I know.
So yeah, go Jeremy.
So Ed, I finally finished my box earlier this year.
Oh, you did?
Yes. So
did you put a video up on YouTube about it?
Nope.
We're still waiting for that.
We're still recording right now.
I mean, I follow you. So.
Okay, so this is the top of the box. I have a Victron Energy battery monitor, which was expensive and seemed really nice, but ultimately I have decided was kind of a waste of money, just because this thing, I have to do a lot of maintenance to keep it reset, because some of the currents I'm drawing in this are so low that it just doesn't care, because this thing's made for managing large battery systems on a boat. So like even just I think the right word would be the quiescent current in the system is such that it just gets confused, because the minimum resolution it has is like 0.01 amps. So even if you're drawing, 1 milliamp, it's reading in 10 milliamp increments.
Right.
So, but anyway, on the top, I've got power pole out, and USB and 12 volt cigarette lighter, and then inside I have my charge controller, and there's also a low voltage disconnect in the box as well. But this thing is still going strong. And the only thing I've really done to it is make sure the pack was stored at about 60% depth of 40% depth of discharge, and then once every 6 months I would pull it out and put a charge on it, and then put it on my DC load and just make sure it was still living.
I have not done as well taking care of it, although I've used it a lot for like when we went camping. So I'd use it for all of our lights for the campground, or the campsite, because I don't know who makes them, but I picked up off of Amazon USB LED lights, and they're just awesome. You just plug those into a USB, and it gives you a great light. And then I had a 12 volt fan for Tucker, so if it got too hot, I could throw the fan on for him. But it was always nice having that.
I got a 12 gauge, a 12 volt squirrel cage fan for myself for field day.
Oh no, okay. Yeah, the one I found actually uses the 12 volt fan that is the electric fan that they use in a car for your radiator.
Yeah,
and it's the same thing, and it worked a great job. It took care of things whenever you get too hot or whatever. But so I think I need a new battery pack.
At this point, I would just tell you to buy a Bio-NO and just call it a day.
Yeah. Are they now? Do they make a 40, and would it fit inside the case, or?
Smitty, you're the most recent person I know who bought one.
They definitely make a 40. I don't know whether it'll fit in your case because I don't know the dimensions of your case.
I believe the 40 is a little bit smaller than the Pelican case. Which let's see, what's Kenneth about to show us?
This is my battery box. Which I guess I never put my call sign on this one. But yeah, it's literally just a 50 cal ammo can.
Yeah.
With 2 power pole on it.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of threw everything in there. So a couple power pole extensions, cigarette adapter, power pole to 2.1 millimeter, because 2.1 millimeter is my standard DC connector.
Yeah.
And then my barrel plug get out of jail free kit.
I just ordered that.
Yeah.
No, literally, I just ordered it because this camera, there's a dummy battery and it has a 3 millimeter by 1.1 millimeter requirement, and I couldn't find a standalone adapter, but I found that kit which had it.
Yeah, and then got the charger lives inside the box, as does a AC inverter, which these are really awful, the Harbor Freight inverters.
Yeah.
So, pro tip: don't plug your UV EEPROM erasers into an inverter, because I tried to run a UV EEPROM eraser off of an inverter. Off of this inverter, which the current on the UV lamp is limited by a series capacitor, and the inverter, being a square wave, just blew up the UV bulb. So
holy cow!
Yeah, right. Because you think about it, it makes sense, right? Because the current limiting is done by the series reactance of the capacitor, but that reactance is at 60 hertz, and so since the inverter has a square wave on it. It has all sorts of higher frequency power.
180 hertz and 240
hertz, 240 hertz, and all these other ones. And those go straight through this series limiting capacitor, and it just blew the lamp right up. And so, and of course, on the Erasos, the lamp isn't socketed. You have to like desolder the whole thing. So I had to fix that.
Yeah, for everything I've done, I mean, I've been using the battery box for camping, and we use a air mattress. And the last one we had was actually 110 volt or AC thing, and I would actually take an inverter to run it. But it's such a pain. I just hate those things, and I don't find them enjoyable to use at all. Just they always anyway. But yeah. Switching everything to 12 volt.
Yep.
So,
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, gents, go ahead, Ed.
No. I was just gonna say it's sort of my thing. I mean, power poles and 12 volt. That's all I want.
So speaking of that, let me interrupt really quickly, Jeremy, because the segue was too perfect. 12 volt, Ed. I posted a link in both the Hangout chat and in the YouTube stream chat to the circuit boards for that 12 DS7 headphone amplifier. If you're interested.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. I very well might be. I need to look into some of that because I'm going to be doing some more audio projects.
This is not my only headphone amplifier project. That could be an entire stream unto itself. It has been. If you are interested in chatting, let me know. I would be happy to go into a heck of a lot more detail.
Yeah, absolutely. What is
Say that again, Ivan.
Why would you guys think I would do that?
Nope.
Completely broken.
Yeah, you've gone completely silent on us.
Like every third syllable. That's it.
All right, Ed, were you saying something?
Yeah, I was going to ask about Osh Park. I've not actually heard of this before.
Really? You're in for a treat because Osh Park's the reason that I got rid of all of my board etching gear.
Oh yeah.
Because they make it so that it's not at all worth ever trying to etch my own boards. Because for $5 per square inch, they will professionally fab 3 copies of whatever board design you give them, and and they typically get it to you in about 2 weeks.
Yep.
Damn. Okay.
Right. And so what they do is when you submit your Gerber files to them, they take your Gerber files and everyone else's board designs and batch them together and tile them to fill a whole panel. And then they have the board house run 3 copies of that panel.
Gotcha.
And then they just snap them all apart. And so your boards will come with nominally somewhere around it. It'll have some mouse bite break off tabs of where you are connected to the board next to you.
Yep.
But you get a full 2 or 4 layer, like 6 mil, silk screens, solder masks, both sides.
Beautiful boards.
Interesting.
And so Osh Park's brand is that they use purple solder mask, and then it's Enig gold plate on top of it. So
get out of town.
The
photos look sharp. Yeah,
they are not the cheapest option for getting PC boards fabbed, but they are, in my opinion, worth the money. The customer service is beyond fantastic. Their product is phenomenal. Anytime I've had issues with the boards that they've fabbed for me, they turned around and had them refabbed and sent to me with no extra money, no fuss, no questions, no nothing.
Gotcha.
One time I told them, like, one of the 3 boards I had a drill hole missing. Okay, I can go re-drill it myself, and it was no problem. And I told them about it just to let them know in case it was a problem with their process, so that they would know. I had new boards in my mailbox in like a week. They're like, we'll just go rush order you some new ones.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome. Yeah, I'm actually considering, but I actually now have to learn how to use Eagle. But I'm actually wanting to make another run of my effects pedal I built, because I never actually built myself one. My prototype. I probably built about a dozen or so and sold them, and they're just out in the world somewhere.
Yeah,
but I never built one for myself. And I'm like, in fact, I saw one online at a used guitar store online, and they wanted $70 for it, and I'm like, do I actually just buy that? But, I don't know. So anyway.
Hey, real quick.
Go for it, Jeremy.
So gents, it is with great sadness that I need to tell you that I need to sign off, because I got my family coming tomorrow for my side of the family's Christmas. And we got to get up early and start cooking and cleaning and whatnot. And unfortunately, since I'm the host of this, when I go, you'll all go.
Yeah,
that's okay. I think the drugs are starting to kick in for me anyway. So.
Okay.
All right.
Well, hey, Edward. Ed, send me an email or tweet or something, and I will give you a $10 coupon for Osh Park for your first.
Sweet.
I'm going to send an introductory email to the 3s of you.
Yeah,
great.
Include me on that, because I want to.
I told you guys you would like him.
But yeah, because I run into the Osh Park guys at conferences all the time, and they're always like, every time I meet them, they give me another stack of these $10 coupons.
Yeah,
excellent.
I can hook you up. So
sweet.
And once Jeremy is out of the picture, then I can officially talk about Eagle versus KaiCat without feeling bad about dissing the sponsors.
Yeah, once we go off the air, because he's about to hang up on all of us.
That's right.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, well, I'll talk to you later on that because I've yet to learn any of all my boards I did in Adobe Illustrator.
Yep.
I did. Well, here's one. I took the Fox, anyway, an old vintage fuzz pedal where it was, the nice curved traces. Put the board on a scanner because I had a repair I did for a guy. Put the board on a scanner, opened it up in Illustrator, traced over the traces in Illustrator. Yep. And so I've got a part it's exact copy of their board, just because. And anyway, so that's all I've used so far. So I gotta learn. I gotta jump into the 21st century, I guess.
Yes. Yep. Well, gents, thank you very much for hanging out with us tonight on Friday before New Year's. Yeah, and for those of you who have hung out with us, thank you very much for doing that. Ivan, it was fantastic to meet you.
Likewise.
keep up, playing around and stay safe on the roads. And thank your wife for allowing you to sleep. Details. But anyway, happy New Year to all of you. And like I said, for those of you who follow the podcast, we expect to be doing more video and streamy stuff as time goes on. Just real quickly for everybody, if folks, we'll start with Mark. Mark, if folks want to know more about what you're doing, where would they go?
Hit me up on Twitter. I am at Smitty Halibut, SmittyHalibut. I also have a YouTube channel, though it's been a very long time since I've posted there. I'm Smitty Halibut on YouTube as well.
All right, and Kenneth?
At KWF on Twitter, that's 3 letters, and blog.thelifeofkenneth.com for my longer form writing.
All right. Ivan, do you do anything online?
Yes, I do have a YouTube channel that I really just started, so I texted into the YouTube chat, Ivan here. So come to my YouTube channel. I'll be showing what I'm playing around with SDR stuff and some trunking stuff. I'm going to be showing some of my personal tricks that I pretty much got on my own, and we'll see how it goes.
All right, and Ed?
Let's see. I do not do Twitter, but I am Ed Brad. No, I am not Ed Bradshaw on. Can I just trying to look for that? I am W4EDF on YouTube, but most of my activity is what is my channel on? I think it's just Edward Bradshaw. Yeah. That's how bad I am. So W4EDF.
I just took some. You.
The drugs are kicking in.
The drugs are kicking in. Yeah, I'm trying to. And of course, this Linux computer here is being a Linux. Yeah, it's Edward Bradshaw, Edward Space Bradshaw on YouTube. And I've got mostly it's going to be audio stuff, just videos of my repairs. But I also have some stuff, and then, but actually, you'll see some of my videos on Jeremy's channel.
Yes, you will.
So the painter pole and the how to build that little antenna.
The 6 meter center supported dipole.
Yep.
So apparently, Edward Bradshaw is also a gamer on YouTube.
That is not me.
Yep.
Because I'm not finding you. Is it Edward Bradshaw?
I don't know.
There you are. There you are.
Link.
Yeah, I don't.
I was already subscribed.
Yeah, you probably were.
Can you provide a link somewhere, please?
I'm putting it in the YouTube thing.
YouTube chat. You know what it is? Here it is. It's Ed Biscuit.
There we go.
Oh my God, how long ago did I do that?
That's how I found you originally when you were borrowing the Canon. What was it? The XL200 or XL400?
I don't think so.
You were borrowing a DV cam from work.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, maybe it was the XL100. I don't remember.
Yeah, but yeah, I forgot Ed. So Ed Biscuit, which I haven't gone by Biscuit for ages.
Getting started with Bodo. Are you an AWS developer?
I am a DevOps.
Oh, okay.
Long-time Linux admin and doing a DevOps, and we were moving everything that I take care of for my company into AWS.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Have a safe and wonderful New Year, and look for more stuff like this coming soon-ish. In the next 12 months. That's soon.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Happy New Year.
Yeah,
Jeremy, thanks for inviting us. This has been a lot of fun.
Thanks for showing up, man. It's been good to see you guys. Haven't really talked to you hardly since Hamvention. Yeah. All right. Everybody stay safe. 73.
Right. 73s.
Peace.
Bye.